lose my pen again? Oh, I didn't. All right, live. Kenny live for the second time today.
Yeah, man. Shout out Do Some Mo, man. Always good rapping with them.
Yeah.
Always.
Johnny Flynn comes.
Anybody remember Johnny Flynn out there?
Oh,
come on, man. Johnny Flynn was a bad boy.
You got to.
And he got hurt. Like it wasn't spinal. It might have been, but it was I think he did have a real bad back issue or something that kind of cut his career short in the NBA. It wasn't like TJ Ford. I know TJ Ford had a spinal issue, but like Johnny Flynn did too.
All right. Got the invite sent to Hammer. Plenty to talk to James Ham about. Ham. Whoa, Ham. Let's hope my
wait a minute. I mean,
computer don't die.
I'll save this for the first break.
I'll
save this for the first. I think I'm probably a little more excited than Damian is, but we'll see. We'll see.
Wait a minute. Whoa. What are we talking about? Show already in progress over on twitch.tv/ESPN1320, youtube.com/ESPN1320. I think Kenny Caraway just dropped the first ever tease to get to the first commercial break. I don't know that it's ever happened in the history of radio before. Of course, we're not just a radio show. We're a streaming show over on twitch.tv/ESPN1320 and youtube.com/ESPN1320 as well. It'd be great if my computer lasted the entire 4 hours. Wow.
It's going to last today. It's going to last.
Even Danny, I have my doubts. Even Danny in San Francisco is checking in. Boy, Danny in San Francisco, I think I saw John Bull. I'm not sure if John Bull is back in the Placer County area, if he's still in the islands of Hawaii, but they in here deep today. There's plenty to talk about, and we got plenty of people to talk
burner
with.
Accounts out here. Jazzy 510 on our burner account. Okay,
we got the burners out here. That's what's up. That's what's up. Always good to have Jazzy in here, or allegedly Jazzy 510. I know James Ham is going to be here. No burner account necessary. Kings Insider from NBC Sports. He'll be with us, and man, oh man, there's going to be a lot to talk to him about because, there's Tom X Social Club, man. There's rumors out there. People is talking. I know he was on the Do Some Mo podcast earlier today.
Yeah, shout out Do Some Mo, man.
Y'all were talking Johnny Flynn comps, by the way, for Kenny Caraway over on the Do Some Mo podcast. And I know you guys spent a lot of time talking about Ben Simmons and potential deals for the Sacramento Kings. Jason Anderson was with us yesterday. It got some traction that Jason had said, De'Aaron Fox isn't going to be a part of a trade. Kings aren't looking to trade De'Aaron Fox, which is, we all I think most of us expected that. Jason said as much to us yesterday, but he did drop an interesting nugget in his column this morning in the Sacramento Bee. I don't know if anybody brought you your newspaper from the edge of the driveway today, Kenny, but
to get it out of the driveway.
You actually could have seen this significantly earlier if you had just gone to sacb.com, and you could
always go to sacb.com.
So you read both the physical paper and the digital copy.
Look, full disclosure, I don't read the physical copy nearly as much as I thought I would when I signed up.
It's aesthetics. You're faking it, is what you're saying. You just have the paper delivered.
Read it.
You have the paper delivered just to recycle it.
See, yeah, man. I have it delivered because I want to go through it, but it's a give and take. Sometimes I go through it. Sometimes I'm just straight to the internet version.
Okay. Digital copy or physical copy. Although actually Jason Anderson's article probably won't be in the physical copy of the paper till Sunday. The process is a little slow over there, but he noted that a league source recently told him the Kings would have to send a minimum of 3 first-round picks.
Come on, man.
To the Philadelphia 76ers in a trade that was constructed around Hield. Of course, the centerpiece of this article is the De'Aaron would be the most attractive piece, which I don't think that's necessarily breaking news. It's whether it's Ben Simmons or virtually any other player in the league. If you're looking at the Sacramento Kings, the most attractive piece is De'Aaron Fox, but he's the off-limits piece. But the 3 first-round picks in a deal surrounding Buddy Hield and Marvin Bagley, ooh, that's not the proposal we put out there for the last several weeks.
I don't know. I really look. It's negotiations too. You know, you ask for the moon to start off, and if you get somebody involved in the conversation,
you ask for the moon. If you get a couple stars, we're in good shape.
There you go. Right. But what are the Sixers thinking? I don't know. I don't. Maybe they're going to guys like Damian Barling. You know, when they talk about Ben Simmons, maybe they're going to guys like Marshall Harris when they talk about Ben Simmons, and guys that look at Ben Simmons that way. They come to me talking about 3 first-round picks.
Whoa. Explain to me how I look at Ben Simmons.
Is 2 first-round picks too much for you?
I'm going to answer that question with a question. Yesterday, our redrafting bit jumped over the biggest shark you could ever see. And it became clear to us that Vlade is terrible. Pete was terrible.
We actually gave Vlade a pat. Well, I gave him a pat.
I did no such thing, and that will never happen. Bad general managers, bad this, bad that, bad organization. But even with hindsight, the only all-star we could get was a version of Victor Oladipo. That was the only all-star we can land. And the only reason he fell that far is because it was actually a fight to get him there. You wouldn't even you took Harrison Barnes over Draymond Green in 2012. Point being, you can land good players in the draft, but to land the player in the draft is really, really difficult. With that said, we don't have the best draft history. Maybe you can part with 2 first-round picks instead of 1.
I mean, even if let's just take the Kings out of this. Like, if you're the Thunder and you have excellent draft history, Sam Presti. No, I'm not giving up 2 first-round draft picks for Ben Simmons.
So here's the thing I don't understand. We've got your chance to win $1,000, by the way, coming up in about 3.5 minutes or so. So everybody else is wrong about Ben Simmons.
Everybody else, like who? I find it Ben very Simmons split.
How long has Ben Simmons been in the league? 4 years?
4 or 5 years.
5 years. He's a 3-time All-Star. He's been an all-defensive player, all defensive team, all NBA team. So every other NBA mind is wrong. Every other media member is wrong.
I find it very split down the middle. I really do. The more I listen to it, the more I hear people split down the middle.
Be honest. You find it split down the middle now, or you found it split down the middle before the playoffs?
I find it split down the middle now. Some of the people that are on the side that I am, I put it to you like this: like this is how I feel about Ben Simmons and the perception of him. Nothing has changed. If you feel the way you feel about Ben Simmons today, like you feel like I do, you saw it 2 years ago. If you still are like, no, like he's salvageable or he's still good, this playoffs didn't sway you at all. He's just got to refocus himself and dedicate himself. It ain't happening.
He's 25 years old.
It's not happening. Not to the level that warrants 2 or 3 first-round picks. Like, sure, he can get incrementally better, I guess, but to the point of...
But why has he gotten these accolades? Let me ask that. Why does he get recognized as a good defender or even a great defender? Why does he get recognized as one of the top defenders in the league?
Because he's a good defender. He's a really good defender. Like I said, though, Bruce Bowen ain't giving him $30 million a year.
Greg Popovich might have.
Greg Popovich definitely would not have done that.
No, he wouldn't have. Definitely wouldn't have. So your comp for Ben Simmons is Bruce Bowen.
No, what is my comp for Ben Simmons? Who is Ben Simmons? It's a good question. I have to think about that. I mean, he's unique because he is 6'10", with athleticism. Plays, he has the ability to guard 1 through 5, literally, like one-on-one. He can do those things. Those are great. That doesn't make a $35 million a year player.
I get it, man. This has just been so fascinating. This whole thing is super fascinating to me. Like, people have been screaming to get Marvin Bagley off this roster. You've been screaming to get Buddy Hield off this roster. This organization is drafted like ass for the last decade and a half. But now everybody's worried about giving up Marvin Bagley, Buddy Hield, and draft picks when you can get an all-NBA player in return?
I'm worried about the draft picks.
For what? Do you want to go over our recent drafts again?
I'll go
over to Ben McLemore, Thomas Robinson era again.
This is what I'll say about Ben Simmons and everything. I've been saying for the last 2-3 years, and I said Sixers fans wanted to fight me and say all this stuff. I said, fine, have Ben Simmons. See how it works out. Have him, keep him. If you want him that bad, keep him. If you want to acquire him that bad, trade 3 first-round picks. See how it works out. If I end up being wrong, then I'll be wrong. But see how it works out for you. It's been exactly how I thought it would be 3 years ago when I said this, when it was Toronto, and I said they need to trade him then after the Toronto series. It's played out exactly how I thought it would. But hey, maybe it'll change.
Here comes the money. Here we go. Here comes the money. Here we go. Here comes the money. Here we go. Money talk.
Here's your chance to win $1,000 by texting the code word FOCUS to 72881. Do that again.
Is that new?
I think that's a new word.
Okay.
Why not? With only 3 days left in the contest, let's throw a new word in. Spoiler alert, the next 3 are old ones. That's focus. Like Ben Simmons needs to focus on his free throw shooting and shooting in general. Text FOCUS to 72881. This is a multi-state contest. Message and data rates apply. And remember, don't text and drive. This is your first of 4 opportunities to win $1,000. We have your next chance to win coming up 10 minutes past the 1 o'clock hour. Of course, 10 minutes past the hour of every hour that Dealing with Casey are on the air. We'll have your chance to win $1,000.
Will S. coming in here talking about Ben Simmons is elite in every aspect except shooting. He's not an elite passer. He's not an elite. He's not an elite point guard. He's absolutely not elite. He doesn't create for others. What he does, I told you the little fake assists that he gets all the time. He takes 2 dribble, underhand tosses to Seth Curry, who's already wide open for a 3.
Mm-hmm.
There was 2 passes in the playoffs that I said, yo, that's some good stuff. That's some good stuff. He got in transition, made some nice cross-court pass to somebody streaking in for a layup. He did that like 2 times. Other than that, it was catch the ball, 1 dribble, toss it up to Seth Curry, 3-pointer. That's not a is that on the same level of creating the way Chris Paul does? That's elite.
Well,
that's what an elite point guard does.
This is Chris Paul. Chris Paul is the best point guard in the game and has been for a decade and a half.
That's what an elite point guard does. He don't do that.
Is Ben Simmons a better defender than Chris Paul?
Yeah. Who has ever said he's not a good defender? Ben Simmons is a really good defender.
I mean, you're bringing up Chris Paul comps. I'm just bringing up Chris Paul comps. I just find this.
Will S. said he's elite at everything but shooting. He's not elite at everything but shooting. He's not. And once people, maybe that's the disconnect.
Is he good at everything but shooting?
No. He's
Jesus.
Cool. Like, he's cool as a rebounder. He's cool as a passer. But how you going to be a great passer if you don't even want the ball to pass the ball?
So
what point is it that you have great vision when you can't even get the ball?
So Ben Simmons is just a scared kid out there on the floor who got a $160 million extension, $190 million extension.
What did he look like to you a month ago? Is that what he looked like to you when you were watching against Atlanta?
You're trapped into that one moment. You can't see past that last playoff appearance. That's what you're stuck in is the playoffs.
That's a misnomer, because what I'm stuck in is what I've seen for the last 3 years with Ben Simmons in the playoffs.
I don't even have a clever tease. This is just going to be a long ass day talking about the Kings and his damn trade. And now let's throw Nerlons Noel in the mix. Dead serious. That's coming up as D'Lo and Casey continue on Sacramento's #1 sports station, ESPN 1320.
Maybe. I don't even know if the Kings, like, sure, they might have enough to get to the playoffs. They have enough to get to the playoffs right now, if you ask me. So he's not necessarily changing that. Definitive, like they be a 6 seed and higher. I think they can make the 8 seed today. Who was the 8? Was it Memphis?
About what? 3 games, 2-3 games.
Mm-hmm.
That was the 10.
Memphis,
I don't remember.
Yeah, Memphis
who the AC
was probably 7 games or something like that.
Yeah,
back in the standings. Memphis was easily the 8 seed. Well, easily from the Kings. But the T's paying it off. Damian, like I said, I don't know. Maybe I'm a little looking forward to it a little bit more than you are. Did you see the next verses?
No.
Oh boy.
No. Who is it?
Get your Timberlands ready to go.
Oh.
Get your tank top ready.
Okay.
Get your NY fitted hat. It's the Locks versus Dipset. Dipset.
Yeah, you're more excited about that than I am.
And Manny in here slandering Dipset like always.
Locks.
You sound crazy. Dipset, Manny, we agree on a lot of stuff. You sound crazy here. Dipset is a movement. I know a lot of people are gonna go to the Locks or whatever the case may be. I don't see how they beat Dipset, to be honest with you. I don't see how it happens.
Wow.
What?
Okay. Well, there's that.
Well, what?
In defense of Jesse, the Locks were late 90s. I mean,
90s.
have they popped since the late 90s?
Probably only in New York. The people in the Locks, though, right, Jesse? Jadakiss, Styles P.
So that's kind of the game changer. If you could just start dropping Jadakiss records.
I mean,
if you could start dropping Jadakiss mixtape records.
Then Cam was going to start dropping his records.
If you could just drop Jadakiss appearances, then you might have more of a battle here.
You might, but then that's when I would say then Cam is going to start dropping his guest appearances, his singles. Yeah. And then it's going to get crazy. I don't know how anybody beat Dipset in this situation. I don't see it. I remember for a long time they were trying to say G Universe Dipset. I thought G Unit kind of falls in that era that we're talking about in the early 2000s where it's like
G Unit encompasses one individual.
Yeah.
Lloyd Banks had a good song.
Yeah.
And I can't remember what it was. Lloyd Banks had a good record in that. Hey, fam, you want to go ahead and hit the pause button on the TV?
And
it was doing it through the whole Deuce and Mo podcast, and I was just looking at it like, I bet Kenny's saying something real interesting, but I'm just staring at that damn circle.
That's what it was. I'm on fire.
That's it. Oh, up in here. And who's on the hook?
50 wrote all that stuff.
That was a radio record.
That was a big one. Now I think Joel's can use this one in Dipset. Beamer Benson Bentley. Joel's will use that one.
Hey man, I want to become famous. Yeah. Put that back up.
My mistake.
What you doing? Ooh, Donnie Johnson coming out firing. Okay.
How about 3 straight free throws in a row?
Oh, all right. Everybody relax. God bless it. It's amazing how we all see the same thing, but feel very, very differently about what we're seeing. Discover the Odyssey app. Discover hundreds of new exclusive music stations available now for sports and music fans by sports and music fans. Check out new Jack Swing featuring the grooves of Teddy Riley and the ultimate collection of 90s R&B. The new Odyssey exclusive stations on the Odyssey app now. Download it immediately, and it's brought to you in part by Macy's and Geico.
I got that in my favorites.
I'm sure you do. Who you don't have in your favorites is Ben Simmons. So apparently we're going to spend the next 4 hours arguing about Ben Simmons, and we're bringing in some backup here as Howard Eskin of WIP in Philadelphia is going to join us. He's absolutely going to be on your side, and he's going to join us 1 hour, a little bit over from an hour from now. He's going to join us coming up at 1:30. Of course, James Ham will be with us for his weekly conversation coming up at 3:20. And I'm sure James Ham is going to have a lot to say about all of the different reports that are out there. Texting with Jason Anderson right now, following up on a couple of things in his article. De'Aaron Fox, they have inquired the Kings. Sources have told Jason Anderson that there have been conversations between Philadelphia and Sacramento. De'Aaron Fox was not brought up in those conversations, and this is me talking now. I think it's understood. You ain't getting De'Aaron Fox. I don't think Monty McNair's first order of business as the Sacramento Kings general manager was to lock up De'Aaron Fox long-term with the idea of, okay, how can we get rid of him next year?
Right.
I that's just, obviously, it's my personal opinion. Now,
especially get rid of him for Ben Simmons.
Okay. A has nothing to do with B. I was just saying, I don't think his idea when he signed De'Aaron Fox was to eventually move him. Now, I posed the question about the other core member of the Sacramento Kings, and I'm not going to repeat it because it wasn't received well. And I'm coward enough to just say, forget it. I ain't going to bring it up again. It's so funny. Like, we could get into this conversation about Marvin Bagley, which we have 1,000 times. And I think minus the social media stuff, right? You take the social media stuff out of it. You take the dad out of it. You take the like tweet. You take all of that stuff out of it. You take the halfway decent podcast out of it. And you get, he's so young. Give him time to develop. Man, if he could just stay on the floor, we've seen it. We know that he could be good. Right, you'll get people that are just hell bent on holding on to Marvin Bagley. Hell, one of our most loyal viewers on Twitch and YouTube and on social media, securing to Bagley. His whole persona is based off of defending Marvin Bagley. Ben Simmons is literally like a couple years older, and nah, man, no. I don't want that. That's weak. That's trash, bro. Nah, man. It's just, it's crazy to me that it do 3-time All-Star, multiple accolades from across the league, max extension. And the same people who are like, nah, let's give Marvin Bagley a chance are like, nah, Ben Simmons is trash. He's never going to be good. He's never going to evolve. All that stuff is fake. It's crazy to me. Dude is an all-star. And I don't believe he's an all-star by accident.
From what we see, and it's all just a guesstimate, right? Like, sure, he could change. He could. I'm not willing to bet on it. I'm willing to bet this is his DNA. Hell, he said, it is what it is. I am who I am. He said that. I didn't make that quote up. He said, it is what it is. I am who I am.
No, he did. And he did say that. I also think he said that following the worst playoff performance, but perhaps the worst stretch of performances of his life. And I'm guessing Ben Simmons. I don't know if Ben Simmons wishes he hadn't said that or not. I can't believe I'm in a position where I feel like I'm defending Ben Simmons. I'm not trying to defend Ben Simmons because I was the one who told you, about that. I swear it's called One and Done. That documentary about him going to LSU, where I just looked at this kid and go, I don't think he loves basketball. Mm-hmm. I think he loves what basketball brings him. Again, there's absolutely nothing wrong with this, but I believe Ben Simmons let me rephrase that. I think Ben Simmons might be one of those guys who plays basketball as a job, and he's good at it. So he plays it, and it makes him a lot of money and affords him a certain lifestyle. He's not Kobe. He's not LeBron. You know what I mean? He's not even Doug Christie. You know what I mean? Guys who are just going to continuously bust their ass to try to get better at different elements of the game. He's not that. He's good. He has a skill set. I think he has a natural born skill set, and it's gotten him this far. And that's what he does. I don't know that he loves the work that goes into being a basketball player.
Or
like an elite basketball player. Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Yep. Fair enough.
Great ball player. Like I said, I think, and I mentioned it before the break, and you were saying that we are so close to what happened in that Atlanta series that's what's stuck in our mind. And he
was too when he made in my opinion, he was too when he made that "I am what I am" remark, and when Doc Rivers made the remark about him being. I think my guess is both of them regret that. Doc more than Ben does. Ben might be like, I don't care. Now, but I don't think I think he wishes he hadn't said that.
Now to what you said earlier about, all these other guys that look at the NBA and give him all this stuff and they say he's there. I say, I feel how I feel. And you're like, well, are all these other people wrong? And you're right. I'll ask this question. Doc Rivers seen him every day. Whether he shouldn't have said it or not, that was a truthful statement. Is everybody else that's not around him every day right? And Doc Rivers is wrong?
Dude, that's not fair, though. Like, Doc Rivers is the same guy who, like a week and a half earlier, was like, Ben Simmons does too many good things on the floor. You telling me to take him off the court for the whole game? You don't know basketball. That's the same Doc Rivers.
Right. Now we all know that was not a truthful statement. We all saw Doc was definitely trying to defend and protect Ben Simmons in those times.
Oh, okay. Can I take you back 11 months ago to the birth of D'Lo and KC? One of our first conversations about your San Francisco Giants. Is there any possibility that Doc Rivers, to quote my partner, maybe got a little emotional? In both aspects. He got a little emotional in his defense of Ben Simmons because he saw the way Ben Simmons played and he was trying to prop up his star. He got a little emotional in the loss of his team and what was a championship caliber team, or at least it was expected to be a championship caliber team, falling well short of where if you Philadelphia could have fallen short. They just couldn't have fallen short where they did. Right. He was a little emotional then. Maybe now his answers to both questions are completely different.
Sure. I don't know which one he's gonna give us. The truthful one or the political one. I don't know. But yeah, he could have been emotional after the game for sure. One of the things that I heard when you talk about people after the loss and stuff like that was Joel Embiid's comments. And when he alluded to the time when Ben passed up the wide open dunk or whatever, and people were like, oh, that was trash that he would say that. And Howard can probably speak to this a little better, but I had my ear to the street in Philly. And they were like, that was when Joel said that, they hypothesized it was more than just that play. It was the last 3 years of seeing this happen. And he's like, man, I'm done hiding moments like this. I'm done saying, oh, well, there was a number of different times. He's like, no, that was the play of the game. I'm sick of this always happening. That was the moment. And now whether he should have said it or not, that's a completely different argument. But that's a guy who's been there for the last 3 years. He's been through all these playoffs, ups and downs. And I could only imagine, like, if Joel Embiid feels like I feel, like having to come up to the press conference after this guy didn't show up again and being like, oh, well, he's a great point guard. No, he's not, is what he's probably thinking. Like, no, he's cool, but The things that we need, he don't provide when we need it the most.
What does Philadelphia need the most?
They need a point guard that's a leader. They're devoid of leadership.
You don't think Joel's a leader? I think Joel's a leader. I don't think he's the same type of leader Chris Paul is.
I think Joel is he's a bit of a front runner. A bit of a front runner.
You know what? That might be fair.
And
that might be fair.
And that is not somebody that you want to hinge your franchise on leadership wise. Right? That's why I think the more I think about it, Kyle Lowry would be perfect. That's what they need. They need Kyle Lowry. Doesn't mean they're going to win the NBA championship. I'm not here to say that, but that's the type of guy they need. A guy that is unwavered, undeterred. And he had to get to that point too. That's the other thing I'll say about Joel. Kyle Lowry wasn't always the Kyle Lowry we saw after he won the championship. Remember when he left the Cleveland game in the Eastern Conference Finals because the moment was too big or something like that. And he had to walk to the locker room and compose himself. He wasn't always there. But he got to the point where he is looked at as somebody that's a leader. But even as I say that, I'm talking about on the fly, he was the leader of Villanova. He was the leader when they had him, Allen Ray, and they had another guard there as well. But it was Kyle Lowry. Huh?
It's Ray Allen.
No, Allen Ray.
It's a joke, man.
Oh, I thought you really. Okay, I was about to say no. It's Allen Ray.
Okay, so let's follow that up. Allen also went to Connecticut. I'm sorry that went over your head. I got to stop throwing Office references at you that you're not going to get. So that's what Philly needs. Okay, fine. What does Sacramento need?
Sacramento needs.
Because doesn't Sacramento need leadership too? Remember, De'Aaron's not fiery by his own words. He's not the rah-rah guy. Are
you getting that with Ben Simmons?
Don't get ahead now. Stop skipping ahead to the question on the paper. I'm going somewhere here, and I'm asking you. So the Kings need leadership.
They need leadership. They need a level of toughness. They need a tough guy in here.
Okay.
They need a player that's gonna hold that locker room accountable. They need a player that's gonna police it before it even gets to the coaches.
I don't know that that's coming from one player. I don't know that you're checking those boxes coming from one player. But you also need a player with defensive IQ. You need a good defender, like a really, really good defender. You need to acquire someone who walks into your locker room and is immediately the best defender on the team. Ben Simmons checks some of those boxes.
He checks one of the boxes.
Like, is all we're talking about right now a second first round pick? Because if it's the universal deal, if it's Bagley, Buddy, and a pick, a singular one, does that entice you at all for Ben Simmons?
Yeah, I said it yesterday. So when you talk about the trade, Buddy, Bagley, these are two guys that aren't even playing for you, basically. Well, Buddy's playing, but you're moving him out of the rotation. If you can get Terrence Davis back, you can have him in that role of a shooting guard off the bench. Buddy is almost inconsequential to what you're doing. Marvin Bagley hasn't been here for basically 2 years. You're not losing anything. A pick, fine. That's fine. I would not move Ben Simmons for somebody that you're actually relying on in your organization. Buddy and Bagley and the pick, you're not relying on those three.
So it's just the second pick that's bugging you, or potentially the third. So you wouldn't do it for two picks.
No, I wouldn't do it for two picks.
What if they were staggered?
They technically have to be staggered, but
there's workarounds.
Yeah, you can work around that. But I think about it for two picks with those two.
What if it was Moses Moody? What if it was those two picks and the player Moses Moody? Kenny Caraway's mock draft 4.0 coming up in about an hour and a half.
Yes,
by the way.
indeed. I'd rather have Moses Moody.
Okay, dude. I don't know what to say.
So you said
I need you to say the sentence. I'd rather have Moses Moody than Ben Simmons.
I'd rather have Moses Moody than Ben Simmons. So, and here's the other thing. You talked about all these things
Danny
that the Kings
in San Francisco still listening. I need some time off. Kenny and I are spending too much time together, man.
You talked about all these things that the Kings need. And you're like, Ben Simmons checks off some of those boxes. He checks off one box. That's it. That's a defender. He ain't tough. He's not a leader. He doesn't score. He don't make his free throws. Like, we need all that.
Well, you added free throws to the list. Like that wasn't on the original list. Like,
they lost how many games because of free throws?
Let's get our house in order before we start talking about other people missing free throws.
Yeah, but we're bringing in a guy that it doesn't add to that. He plays defense really well.
And
and on top of that, he plays defense really well. And you're talking about eventually $40 million for a guy that just plays defense really well and adds nothing else to the team.
You really believe that dude adds nothing else?
What else does he add?
Something that's huh?
What else does he add that they need?
I do think he has defensive toughness. I think of him as a defender significantly higher than you do. Maybe we talk about this with Bagley. Maybe he just needs to get the hell out of Philadelphia. Maybe a change of scenery will be good for him. Like, we try to work these change of sceneries for Bagley's going to be good when he gets somewhere else. I could see it. I just know it's going to happen. He's going to be so good. Well, maybe but Ben Simmons is going to be good when he gets somewhere else. Maybe he's going to be better. Again, this is so freaking crazy to me. We're talking about a player. We need him to get better. He's been in the league like 4 or 5 years. He's a 3-time All-Star, and we're talking about him get better. He's been an All-NBA player. We're talking about, he's just not good enough. We're talking about him like he's Marvin freaking Bagley. Like he's Buddy Hield or something.
Hey, I'll say what I've been saying for
he ain't amounted to nothing in the league.
I'll say what I've been saying for the last 3 years to the Philly fans. If you want Ben Simmons, you could have Ben Simmons. You could have him. Tell me how that works out. Like I said, I've been saying it. They even want to pull up my old tweets. Find the tweets when I said directly after they lost to Toronto, trade Ben Simmons while you can. Trade him this summer. I've seen what I need to see. He ain't it. I'm sure there's people who think that he is it, and you can sucker somebody into taking him now. Trade him. Been saying it for 3 years. Thought it was crazy. I said, you guys can have Ben Simmons if you want him. We see how that's working out. I'll say the same thing again. If guys think Ben Simmons is great, you guys can think he's great. That's fine. 3 times All-Star, all that other stuff. We'll see where we're at a year from now. If we're having the same discussions. I'm pretty sure we are.
Could you move him to 3 or 4? Couldn't you move him to 3 or 4?
You could definitely move him to that. But okay, what kind of finisher is he going to be? He doesn't want the ball. He's treating it like a hot potato. Like he doesn't want to get fouled. So Durant Fox gets to the lane. The guy steps up, dumps it off to Ben Simmons. What's he going to do with it?
Just so you think what we saw from Ben Simmons, this is Ben Simmons for the rest of his career.
I believe it. It's been him from the start of his career.
Okay.
That's what I believe. Can he get better? Can he improve? Sure, absolutely he can. Can he have a mentality switch? Sure. It can happen. I wouldn't bet on it.
It was career lows for Ben Simmons this season in points and rebounds. He's a 15.9. He's basically 16 points, 8 rebounds, 7.7 assists per game. None of that is intriguing. None of that is and again, he's 24 years old.
It's intriguing. I honestly, Damian, I don't know how he gets these numbers, to be honest with you. When I watch him, he doesn't shoot. Like I said, the assist stuff is probably because he's looking to make the passes. You know, he finds open guys like Curry and all this other stuff and Shake Milton. Like, that's the other thing. We're just catch and shoot threes like Curry and like Danny Green here in Sacramento? Because that's where he gets his assist numbers. It's not like, oh, he's breaking down the defense, dumping off to Rashawn Holmes, or Rashawn Holmes is banging out. Like, that's not where his assists come from. Assists come from little underhand shovel passes to Seth Curry, who knocks down shots. If we have that here, that's great. Do we have that here?
No. In the six playoff series that he's been in, 13.9 points per game, 8.1 rebounds, 7.5 assists. In the first round, he's had 3 first-round series, 16.7, 9.2, 8.6. He's had 3 semifinal series, 11.7, 7.2, 6.6. That's points to rebounds to assist.
I'll ask you.
I don't know what that means, but that's a hell of a discrepancy between the first and the second round, and those are his averages over those three series.
Kind of
first
bizarre.
round.
It's kind of bizarre. I'll ask you this though.
It's a rather steep drop off.
We go through this all the time, because what is the perception, and what do people feel about Buddy Hield? And we actually watch. We watch without even looking at the stat sheet.
Steph Curry. What you mean?
So,
Steph, Buddy.
So when you throw out the accolades, fastest in 1,000 games to threes. That's Buddy Hield.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and he's averaging 15 points a game. He's shooting 40% from 3. Who wouldn't want him? Yeah, he's got some shortcomings, but he can become a better defender. He can work on his basketball IQ. He can work on his ball handling. He can get better at that. That's what this sounds like. Now, the only caveat is Buddy is like 34 and Ben Simmons is 24. But I don't think anybody is looking at Buddy like, he can make a jump.
But you're looking at like statistic. You're looking at numbers, right? Which numbers lie.
We're really doing with Ben Simmons, because when we watch the games, like what?
But are we? Again, I guess I just can't get over the fact he was drafted in 2016, missed that whole year. He's made the All-Star team 3 times. He's been an All-NBA defensive first team twice. I just can't get over like these universal accolades for him. And it's like, no, he's just not that good. As a matter of fact, he doesn't even he sounds like a 3-year, you're rolling the dice at a $60 million contract player.
It's probably what he should be.
Jesus Christ, Jackson.
You think you should be different? So you're comfortable giving him that max deal? If he was on the market today, I'm giving him the max. You're okay with that?
Yeah. Yep. Well, I was okay when he did it. I was okay when Philly did it. I mean, let's remember this too. Remember when John Wall signed his extension, and you were looking at Washington like, oh my God, wow, they really did that. Okay, they're gonna die on that vine. But then he lived up to it and became an MVP candidate and was phenomenal. Signed a second massive extension, and then that was kind of the end of that. But the point being is they signed that extension, and that's part of the thing when you sign. You believe you're going to get to a certain place. You're probably, with De'Aaron, I don't think you sign an extension with De'Aaron Fox because of the player that he was. You're signing De'Aaron Fox because of the player you believe he's going to be. It's clear now Philadelphia thought Ben Simmons was going to grow more, evolve more. Philadelphia obviously doesn't feel that way anymore, at least if you believe some of the rumors that are out there. And there are other rumors out there involving big men, and not Rashawn Holmes, but Nerlons Noel. I feel like we talked about this. This could be like the great Sacramento earthquake of last week. We might have spoken this one into existence. We'll explain. It's dealing with KC. Continue, plus another opportunity for you to win $1,000 here with the Summer of Cash contest on Sacramento's #1 sports station, ESPN 1320.
Will S., I'm convinced Kenny won't be a Kings fan. It's Ben Simmons on the team. Jesus
yes,
Christ.
he will.
You guys, so
Yes, he will.
we have a good time with this. You guys confuse hate with just how I look at a player. I don't hate Ben Simmons at all. I don't even think he's a bad player. I've said numerous times. He's cool. He does good things out there on the floor. Absolutely. Is he a max guy? Not in my opinion. Would I trade for him? What they're asking for? No, I wouldn't trade that for him.
Do you think Ben Simmons on the Kings next year makes them better?
Yeah, they're getting a wing defender, and that's something they need. So that helps them. That makes them better.
So if they're this short from the postseason, does Ben Simmons get them to the postseason?
Yeah.
Because
I guess so. Well, because you're kind of asking the wrong guy, because I think that the team that they have can get to the playoffs, can get to the postseason. Like if they didn't make a move, I think they could make the postseason. So what would be the litmus test, what we talked about last time, is if Ben Simmons gets here, are they guaranteed top 6 type playoff team? I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think Ben Simmons moves the needle that much with them, or they would go from 10 to 6 or 11 to 6. Does he move the needle to go from like 10 to 8? Yeah, maybe so. Maybe so. But then you get into the situation that Philly found themselves into, is you're playing 4-on-5 in the fourth quarter. And that's before you talk about whatever center they get. They get Nerlons, Noel. Sorry for ruining the tease. But if they get Nerlens, Noel, you're not giving it to him on the block and asking him to shoot a shot. You got 2 guys waiting down there for dump downs. Like Simmons works with a Joel Embiid who can go get a bucket. Does he work with another center that can't go get his own bucket? I don't know. Yeah, but no, I don't hate Ben Simmons. Don't hate him at all. If he came to the Kings, I'd wish him the best. I'd hope they. Which goes back into what I said a couple of weeks ago. You might just run this thing back. I wouldn't trade for Ben Simmons for what they're asking. That they took a little less, maybe a future first. They're probably gonna want this year's first, but future first, yeah. Terrence KC saying 7.7 assists are all shovel-like passes. I'll tell you, Terrence, and everybody else, you guys can have Ben Simmons. You can have him. I don't need to go back and forth. You can have Ben Simmons. I said it after Toronto. I said, yeah. Or here's the deal with Ben Simmons. He needs at least 3 other better guys on the squad. That's where he works. The Sacramento have 3 guys that are legitimately better than him. If they do, you can get away with it. If you're looking at him to be like people talking about, he'd be a top 10 king. No, if you're expecting that, that's the problem. You need Ben Simmons to come into a situation where there's about, like I said, 3 guys that are clearly better than him, clearly bucket getters, and clearly can carry a team. And then he's free to do all the little things that he does that make him so attractive to people. But if you need him, nah, hell no.
Looking for sports betting content all day long? The BetQL network is now available nationwide on the Odyssey mobile app and website. Over 10,000 home and auto connected devices and at BetQLnetwork.com. This is wagertainment for every fan, morning, afternoon, and night. Betting angles throughout the day, insights from local and national experts, entertaining content to keep both casual and hardcore bettors engaged. Get sports betting tips from the best in the game. BetQL Network streaming right now on Odyssey. Howard Eskin's going to be screaming right here on, or he's not going to be screaming. He might be screaming. He's going to be streaming here on Twitch, YouTube, and on Odyssey. And of course, he's going to be playing on 13:20 a.m. when he joins us. Coming up at 1:30, James Ham will be doing the same thing when he joins us coming up at 3:10. Conversation here continues to center on Ben Simmons and the Sacramento Kings, and it looks like we could work another former 76er.
Yeah,
right?
I think so. Pretty sure.
Drafted by the 76ers. Wasn't he one of the many process drafts?
I thought he was. He was drafted by what I saw yesterday. I think I saw he was drafted by New Orleans. I thought it was Philadelphia too, but I think we did his draft yesterday, and I think it said New Orleans.
Nerlons Noel was drafted by New Orleans. I feel like I
thought it was Philly too until I saw that.
Okay.
I was
he played 2.5 years with Philly. So sorry, Pablo. We didn't see you were on the line, man. If you're still listening, give us a holler. 916-349-1320. I got my eyes diverted from our call line here. Is if you were with us yesterday in the 3:00 hour, you know, my portion of the stream completely died. So MacBook has this weird like battery health feature where it only starts charging your battery at a certain point on your MacBook, even though it's connected. And so every couple of seconds, I'm looking at that little charging icon to see if it's charging yet.
Yeah.
Because right now it just shows that it's plugged in. It's plugged in. It's not charging. And it's not charging. So
aren't you supposed to not charge the laptops all the time?
Correct. That's why this feature is in place.
Gotcha.
It's supposed to like save the health of your battery. I don't know like what percentage it starts charging. So knowing that it died in the 3:00 hour yesterday, and that's why my stream went down and I couldn't get back up because I was at like 1% and it just went off and it didn't have enough power to run. It just has me, come on, switch to a Thunderbolt and just start charging. And that's what I'm hoping the Kings do is just switch to a Thunderbolt here. That's the best segue I could come up with, man. Sorry. Nerlons.
It's okay. We working.
Yeah, Nerlons Noel is on the radar of the Sacramento Kings and the Toronto Raptors, according to Michael Scotto over at Hoops Hype. He said a lot of the Nerlons Noel talk may depend on what happens with Rashawn Holmes in free agency. From the way Michael framed this, Rashawn Holmes still the top target in terms of that position for the Sacramento Kings, but the Kings are also aware that he's going to have many other suitors out there. The Knicks also have their eyes on Nerlons Noel as well, and the Knicks are one of the, if I remember correctly, one of four, one of four teams in the league that actually have money to spend, like real money to spend. Given the success of their last season, I got to imagine Nerlons Noel is a little bit lower on their list of free agent targets, given that they have, money to spend. I don't know who's high on that list. Like it might be more of a acquisition of a big contract. Would Ben Simmons fit on the New York Knicks? Just asking. Just asking. They got the money to absorb the contract and do different things like do slower pace game, defensive minded head coach. Just asking questions. That's all I do. But our focus.
People already think I hate Ben Simmons. I ain't even gonna comment on that one.
We just talking. We know you don't hate Ben Simmons entirely. Nerlons Noel. What do you think?
I like Nerlons Noel.
We talked about him again. I equate this to the Great Sacramento Earthquake. Like we talked about Nerlons Noel I don't remember if it was last week or the week before, but we've had some discussions about him knowing, because I don't think he's going to be as high priced as Rashawn Holmes.
I don't think so either.
Or I shouldn't say high price. He's I don't think he's going to be in the same, salary bracket as Rashawn Holmes is. I think he's probably at the very least a tier below, at least one tier below.
No, I don't think so. I don't think he's on the same level as Rashawn Holmes. I think Rashawn is a better player, but Nerlons is cool. I like him, man. I like what he brings to the table. I like his defensive presence. I feel like he's had injury issues in his career, so that kind of gives me a little bit of pause. But I definitely like what he brings to the table. If you can't re-sign Rashawn Holmes, Nerlens Noel would be a nice little backup plan.
Okay, and then I think that's exactly what it would be, is a backup plan. Watching his market could be interesting as well. Because if things work out with Rashawn Holmes in Sacramento and the market is lukewarm, you could wind up having both. Like, they need depth at that position. I mean, Montrezl Harrell Mo Harkless didn't seem like super like, I'm coming back. Like, I'm coming back to say, like, he didn't seem that, right?
Yeah.
So, there could be some front court spots available for the Sacramento Kings to fill.
Now that's a priority right there. If you ask me, I would definitely be on the phone trying to work some ways to get Mo Harkless back, because I think he's essential to what they were trying to do, especially with depth, like you just talked about, and coming off the bench. But if you lose him, then hell, I don't know. If you lose Terrence Davis, now one of the things that I thought could be a possible strength coming in next year, which was your depth and your bench, takes a major hit. And you may be in a position, like you just talked about, where even if you're fortunate enough to bring back Rashawn Holmes, still having to go after Nerlens Noel and maybe another guy as well.
Yeah. I mean, I said he's a tier below Rashawn Holmes. Might be 2 tiers below Rashawn Holmes, but there was obviously something there that Tom Thibodeau liked, because playing for the New York, there's obviously something there, even though he wasn't putting up massive numbers or anything along those lines. There's obviously something there that he liked, if it's still an open dialogue about him coming back. But it could be very similar for the New York Knicks, could be very similar to the Rashawn Holmes situation with Sacramento. And that, we'd love to have you back. But
price tag
but we really do like you. But we'll see what teams like Sacramento are willing to pay, or Toronto are willing to pay. I don't know that Nerlens Noel, I desperately want to call him New Orleans, it is going to get the overpay treatment.
Nah,
I don't think he's getting that.
That's not the wave that they're going to be on when negotiating Noel contracts this offseason. Not the overpaid wave.
No, he's not. But it's a name that's popped up, and I think when we brought him up, I feel like we spoke about Nerlens Noel in the Hassan Whiteside category, which if he has suitors, that's not going to be it.
No, he's going to get a little more than that.
Yeah, he's not hitting that, especially with New York showing interest in bringing him back. There's no way he's hitting a number like that and not willingly staying there if that's the price tag. Or, it may all depend on whether he wants to be there. Maybe he feels like he could do more than what he was brought in to do in New York. But it's something to keep an eye on. No real need to throw out the numbers. They're not monstrous. They're not super impressive. We'll give you the career numbers: 7-6 and 1 assist a game. Again, you're bringing him in as a role player.
There's a guy off your bench, a depth piece. If
he's not Rashawn.
No. Let's say you brought Rashawn back and Rashawn gets hurt for a couple games. You could be okay with Noel starting for 4 or 5 games or something like that, holding down the fort until Holmes got back, something like that.
Is he the same adventure that you watch more New York Knicks games than I did this year? Is he the same type of adventure that Hassan Whiteside is?
No, because he understands who he is. Hassan Whiteside, while he is a rim protector defensively, he looks to get his buckets too. Noel's not really looking to do that. He'll clean up the dirty work around the rim, take dump offs and things of that nature. But he's not like, yo, feed me on the block, give me the ball on the block, let me go. That's not really what he is. So it's less of an adventure and it's more just him out there working. That's really what it is.
You're listening to D-Lo and KC on ESPN 1320 KIFM West Sacramento, KRXQ HD2 Sacramento, and Odyssey Station, and driven by Lashers, Elk Grove Dodge. He's Kenny Caraway. I'm Damian Barling. We're live on twitch.tv/ESPN 1320. We hope that you'll go follow us there, or youtube.com/ESPN 1320. If you're watching along, hit the thumbs up. While you're there, hit the subscribe button as well. We've got a busy show here with Howard Eskin of WIP in Philadelphia, set to join us coming up at 1:30, and then James Ham coming up at 3:20. We've also got 3 more opportunities for you to win $1,000. The next opportunity coming up 10 minutes from right now. We'll continue to talk more about the Sacramento Kings. I just really want to go 5 minutes without getting an alert on my phone that has something to do with Richard Sherman. So
that's in the box right now until we figure out.
You want to put Rich in? Okay, let's put Rich in a box.
Let's put him in the box right now, because I've tried to read about this and understand what's going on, and some of the words don't match up with what I'm. So I don't know. So I would say we see it, everybody. We see what's going on. Maybe we'll bring it out of the box later on. But right now,
let's just say Rich isn't having a good 36 hours or so.
Yeah. I to be honest with you, another reason why we're not, I don't know what that's all about. Like I said, I've tried to read different things and see, some accounts of what's happening. And I don't know. I don't know what that is. Plus, you hear different charges. And I was like, okay, well, I thought this charge meant this, but I haven't heard anything about something like that going on.
The problem is there's multiple different things. There's there's a domestic situation, which is the main reason we like to put domestic situations in a box and put them away. We don't want nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
But there's also like a hit and run thing as well.
Yeah, and then burglary.
Burglary, I think, is part of the domestic violence. It's bad. Like it's bad for Richard Sherman. So just put Rich in a box and
put him in a box. And that's all I'm saying is when I hear burglary, domestic violence, I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know. I'm thinking something with his wife or his family or something like that. And everything that I'm hearing, there's nothing involving his wife and his family or burglary. So I just don't know. I don't from everything that I've read, I don't know what's going on.
Again, well, let's put it next to. We'll put it between Trevor Bauer and Deshaun Watson.
That box is getting long as my hate list.
It's getting full. Yeah, it's getting full. I'm gonna have to go get one of my moving boxes from downstairs, because we're gonna need we had just a nice small little Amazon package. Just we had an iPhone charger sent to us. We're just putting some stuff in that box. Now we've got a big screen TV box that we're gonna have to start throwing this stuff into.
We just use the box that Damien's having for things that are shipped to his new house. Those are big boxes. Those are heavy hitters.
Which one of us is getting a new TV for their backyard again? Which raise your hand if you have a flat screen in your backyard and you've decided it's too small. Raise your hand.
Well,
anybody? I'm looking around. I'm just looking. What was that?
It is too small.
Oh. Well, for you, it is.
That's a small TV. Stop it.
I mean, it's not big. I'll say that. It wasn't. I was surprised when you did the big unveil on IG, and it was like, oh, Kenny went the modest route. Like, you've got a bigger TV in your garage.
That's facts.
Than you do outside, and there's no way you spend more time in the garage than you do outside.
Well, no, but you know what? That TV in the garage is so heavy. That's like an old school flat screen.
Oh, so it tear down your whole structure out there.
Gosh, that thing would tip over immediately on the little stand that I have.
So Kenny at the Caraway compound not only has he's upgrading. You must be like, when do you call like RC Willie and be like, yo, I'm on my way, and they like roll out the red carpet? And
hell no, RC Willie expensive. Although I like RC Willie, but I mean I can't shop there like other people.
That's funny. Okay. Okay, that's funny. I ain't telling you nothing no more, dude. And I told you I left there mad. I left because RC Willie and El Grove's like a stone's throw from Kenny's compound. And my plan was I was going to go out there. I was going to look around. There were 4 things I wanted. Check that. There were 2 things I needed and 2 things I wanted. I got the 2 things I wanted, nothing I needed. Left in a foul mood, wouldn't go over to Kenny's house, just went out of here, made the mistake of telling him. Now you see how that response is.
That's a damn good story.
It's a great story, yeah. But KC's got a flat screen outside, and now they got a projector for Reese's big Space Jam party.
Wow,
man. Sometimes
the projector pretty dope, man. I can't even front. That's pretty dope.
The projector is legit. I would when I grow up, and I can work with was it City Center?
Yeah, shout out City. Hey, my man Sam. Shout out Sam.
When I'm a big boy and grow up and can have people like Sam, I want to get a projector too, because there's a wall that's empty. I'd be like, man, wouldn't it be so cool to watch something on that wall? Be great, but I ain't at that. I'm working. I'm trying to get up there with the Kenny's the old WCW where the big boys play, and I'm down in the TNA range. Like I'm down in Impact Wrestling. I ain't there yet.
Speaking of, I meant to ask you, not to get on the house show early, but today I went on Deuce and Mo earlier this morning, onto their show, and what do you give me for this analogy? I said it was kind of like when Cena went to the ECW arena to face Rob Van Dam.
Did Deuce and Mo's crowd boo you?
No.
Oh, then no, it's not the same at all. That
was just in my head because we watched RVD Icon, and they talked about that match, and they're like, "If Cena wins, we riot." And
I saw that segment I saw that part of the Deuce and Mo podcast, and I didn't get it then. I was like, man, unless they're cussing you out in the comments
they do
section.
Curse on that show.
They do.
I don't curse here. This is WWE. That's ECW.
We're John Cena era WWE over here. Yeah, that's for sure. We're not even attitude. We're definitely John Cena era. We're not even attitude era over here on ESPN 1320.
What was the thing? Hustle, loyalty, respect. That's what we are over here.
Yeah. Hustle, loyalty, respect, indeed. Deuce and Mo will be with us tomorrow, as they are every single Thursday at 1:47. Kawhi Leonard had surgery on his ACL yesterday. Partial torn ACL. So not a complete tear. So instead of a 12-month rehab, looking at more of a 6-month-ish rehab. So that puts us in the range of November, December. Again, that's the all clear range. That doesn't mean he's ready to get back there on the basketball floor. And if one thing we know, Kawhi Leonard ain't rushing back from an injury. We absolutely know Kawhi Leonard's not rushing back from an injury. So that was we were told, and I remember it was Law Murray that told us when he joined us on the show, covers the Clippers for the Athletic. He was like, yeah, he's got an ACL injury. We know it's not a torn ACL, but he has an ACL injury, and they're not sharing the extent of it. Well, they've shared the extent of it. It was partially torn. He had surgery on it yesterday, and it wasn't the Clippers that said, hey, 4 to 6 months or anything like that.
Yeah.
It was, it was other doctors that were like, well, Spencer Dinwiddie had something similar. He was 6 months. They named a couple of other players. So, nothing more than a guess is about a 6-month rehab time for Kawhi Leonard, which puts us into the season. And as I was mentioning, Kawhi ain't rushing back.
No, that's not his bag.
It's not what he does. So
can I read something from a doctor that we follow each other on Twitter, and he kind of broke down this Kawhi thing, and it was real interesting. So we think it's 4 to 6, but he broke it down a little bit more. It's my man, Dr. Nurav. I'm not even going to say his last name yet. He might even have to get this guy on the show. He's an avid sports guy. He breaks down his stuff. So he says, here's my quick thoughts on Kawhi Leonard's ACL injury. When an ACL is injured, there are 3 general categories of injury: 1, strain; 2, partial tear; 3, complete tear. Injuries in group 1 are treated without surgery. Injuries in group 3 are treated with surgery. Group 2, which is the partial tear, is a bit more complicated. If the knee is stable on exam clinically, then some partial tears can be treated non-operatively. If the knee is unstable, then most partial tears need surgery. The type of surgery can vary, though, with which can change the recovery. Now, if Kawhi did indeed have a repair, let me know if they made a distinction, because he says if he had a repair, this means the damaged ACL was repaired back to its attachment on the bone, usually in the femur. This is a less common, and return to play is around the 6-month mark. If Kawhi actually had reconstruction, this means the ACL was replaced with tissue from another part of the body. Return to play could be around 9 to 12 months.
Los Angeles Clippers All-Star Kawhi Leonard underwent successful surgery on Tuesday to repair a partial tear of the ACL in his right knee.
There we go. Okay.
Clippers said there was no timetable for his return.
There we go. 4 to 6 months, which means it will be 6 months for sure. Maybe you're looking at 7.5 months for Kawhi.
Probably, yeah. And we know, especially in the regular season, I don't think that's obviously you're the Clippers. You want your stars there.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I don't know what this Clippers team is going to look like next year. I don't know how many changes. Obviously, Kawhi Leonard is going to be back in the news here. I would assume, at least in the next couple of weeks, because he's opt in or opt out.
Yeah, I think he definitely opted in.
We saw KD rip his Achilles in 2, and I'm still opting out. I'm still going to explore free agency. I ain't playing next year, but I'm still exploring free agency, and it worked out pretty well for him because
here comes the money. Here we go. Money talk. Here comes the money.
He got that money, and here's your chance to get that money. It's the Summer of Cash contest. Your chance to win $1,000 by texting the code word TRACK to 72881.
That's a new one too, I feel.
That's TRACK. Like, I'm not on track to living up to Kenny Caraway's lifestyle. That's TRACK to 72881. This is a multi-state contest. Message and data rates apply. And remember, don't, under any circumstances, text and drive.
Do you think that, so you mentioned Kevin Durant, and he was Kevin Durant. You understand me? That's why the Nets were like, yo, max deal's nothing. We'll wait a year. Do you think Kawhi still has that?
Yes.
A torn ACL, chronic knee issues.
Chronic?
Chronic. He can't play back-to-backs for like the last 3 years.
Can't or just doesn't?
I don't know. That's a good question.
And is that related to what was the
thigh injury, right?
Yeah, that's what I was about. What was the Spurs injury? Was that a knee?
It was like knee thigh, I think.
Okay, because I remember
quad type guy, I think.
My initial instinct was hip, but it wasn't. That was Isaiah. Isaiah was the hip. Yeah, I still think Kawhi has cachet. You say he's Kevin Durant. He's Kawhi Leonard. He's still Kawhi Leonard.
Like KD though.
If he opted out, would he get a max?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, yes, absolutely. You just know you manage him differently than you manage other players. He's still a max guy.
He's still a max guy, but I'm saying like with him missing most of the year next year. So I like
if Kawhi Leonard said, I want to come to the Sacramento Kings, you'd be like, I don't know, man.
No, the Kings would max him out. They're in a different spot. You think the Knicks would max him out?
Oh my God, yeah. Absolutely. You're getting Kawhi. You get Kawhi in there. I'm assuming they're in good shape at the time he gets. By the time he's ready to play basketball, then you have him play. Let's say conservatively the middle of January to the end of the season. You say you have him play maybe a little over half of the games remaining in the season, and you have him ready for the playoffs.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'd absolutely do that in a heartbeat.
He get maxed out. He can get maxed out. He can get maxed out. You're right.
We'll step out. We'll come back. Oh, I don't think so either.
I think he opts in.
And truthfully, injury or not, I don't think he was ever leaving.
Nah, I think he opts in.
Let's get back to Ben Simmons. Let's get back to your Sacramento Kings. We're going to talk to Howard Eskin. He's a host at WIP in Philadelphia. You think Kenny's got some opinions on Ben Simmons? Wait till you hear what Howard has to say. That's coming up here as Zebo and Casey continue on Sacramento's #1 sports station, ESPN 1320.
Will S. and Leezy are going to be mad at Howard Eskin. Oh, man. If they mad at me, they're going to be like, yo, this Howard Eskin guy, he doesn't know what he's talking about. Boom.
It's me, Austin. It was me all along. I pulled that clip up because I had a vision in my head when I was looking at that NWO stuff a couple of weeks ago or last week, whenever it was. The collective groan from the crowd when Vince McMahon pulls his mask off is hilarious, or pulls that hood back is hilarious. It's like,
you were hoping it was something else.
You just wanted it to be. I remember all of the rumors, and I think Vince McMahon said one of them. Some of you said it was Jake the Snake Roberts.
I remember that being so anticlimactic.
Bruce Richard said, do you know who Christopher Daniels is?
Sounds familiar.
He's like an Impact guy. He really, he was a part of that organization that was on Beyond the Mat, that one in the Bay Area. And he's like a star, like a star. There was apparently there was talk of it being him, but they couldn't figure out, like, how do we, like, a higher power, like Christopher Daniels is a higher power than the Undertaker. Like they couldn't rationalize that. Like they started a story that had no end. Yeah. And so as they were trying to figure out the end, they realized how many holes were in the story. And they were just like,
that's one of the things about wrestling that, that I didn't realize until later is, don't they do that often? They kind of start a storyline and they don't know where it's going.
Yeah.
But they start it and hopefully they come up with a good end.
The way they booked,
this is Chris Webber, Jason Williams, man.
When you could buy NBA Jam, like the arcade game. Have you ever seen that?
Yeah, I've seen that.
I looked long and hard at that. I was like, oh man, this would be so dope. Didn't. They used to, like, you can go back and I don't know when they stopped doing this, probably when Monday Night Raw started and TV picked up at a different pace, but they used to book backwards. Like they'd start like, what's next year's WrestleMania and work their way back. And they would figure out like like WrestleMania 5 was built before WrestleMania 4 took place. Like they had the trajectory of the mega powers exploding built. But that all, when TV became so frantic that, like, think of all of the stories that WWE never paid off. Like the general manager, the computer, wasn't that like Hornswoggle? And then Vince McMahon's illegitimate son, wasn't that Hornswoggle too? Like they just give up. They're like, forget it.
Just throw Hornswoggle.
Just make it Hornswoggle. Just forget it. It used to be just make it Vince McMahon. Now it's just make it Hornswoggle. Like they suck you in with all of these storylines and then never pay them off.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Odyssey app is where you can find these exclusive stations that are curated for sports listeners like you, whether you're looking for something for the summer barbecue, the road trip, whether you're looking for something for working out or relaxing poolside. Try the Beatbox channel with LL Cool J, Grandmaster Flash, the Fat Boys, Salt and Pepper, Queen Latifah. You can find your favorite artist on Odyssey too, on the all-new Artist radio stations. Check out the new Odyssey exclusive stations on the Odyssey app. You really don't need any other app on your phone other than Odyssey, especially for your music. For D-Lo and Casey, we'd love for you to have Twitch, though, as well. Twitch.tv/ESPN1320, YouTube.com/ESPN1320. We hope that you'll hit the follow button and the like button if you're watching over there on YouTube. James Ham coming up at 3:20. Howard Eskin, WIP in Philadelphia, coming up at 1:30. Just about 10 minutes from now, and he's got some opinions. By the way, that Odyssey app is brought to you in part by Macy's and Geico. That Howard's got some opinions on Ben Simmons. He's watched him up close and personal, and I get the feeling he's going to side along with you in terms of not in the way that he feels right now, but in the way that he's felt for the last couple of years.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing. And David did a wonderful job. I don't know. I know how to search. I still don't know how to search as good as these guys, like the Davids and the John Bulls. But yeah, David goes back to 4/14/18. And he said, at IMK did, he said, I said it earlier in the year, and it's more true now than ever. Ben Simmons is everything Laker fans tried to tell us Lonzo was going to be. Lonzo ain't no scrub, but he sure as hell ain't no Ben Simmons.
Would you rather have Lonzo or Ben Simmons on Sacramento?
Lonzo.
I don't know that I disagree with that. Or I disagree as if it's right or wrong. I feel the same way. No, I don't. Damn it. I don't know what to do with Ben Simmons, man. I don't know what to do with all this. It's driving me nuts. I do like the idea of Lonzo. I can't figure it out. How does it work? How does Lonzo, how does Lonzo Ball work here?
He would probably be either a third guard in the starting lineup or he'd be a backup guard. And he'd play alongside Terrence Davis and DeLon Wright. Maybe finish some games out every now and then.
Man. Okay. That's tough. That's a tough sell to someone who could be on the market. That's a tough sell for someone who has a team that can match offers.
Yeah. I don't think that, from everything I see though, they're not going, they're if the offer is high enough or whatever, they're willing to move on from him rather easily.
Do you think he has suitors?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Lonzo's good, man. I know out here in Sacramento, they like to hate on him, but Lonzo can play.
He's going to be cheaper than Ben Simmons, though. That's for sure.
Way cheaper.
Well, the rumors are out there. Ben Simmons, and it's not like a deal is in the works type rumors. It's just that conversations have been had between the Sacramento Kings and Philadelphia 76ers. That's all. There's same type of rumors out there regarding Nerlons Noel, and his free agency approaches just over 2 weeks from now, a little bit over 2 weeks from now. The rumors are going to pick up. You're going to start hearing more about teams talking to pretty soon. We're not going to like this. You're going to hear such and such team is talking to Rashawn Holmes, or such and such team, or maybe not talking to, but such and such teams is really interested in Rashawn Holmes. By the way, they're all talking. Just for those
already talked.
They've already talked. Like there's a good chance Rashawn Holmes people know exactly how much like Charlotte's going to offer them, or how much, some of these other teams that might. He knows, they know, his team knows who's interested in signing him. They just haven't, reported it out there. And once it does, man, that's not going to be.
I remember, like I said, my famous Trevor Ariza moment. My homeboy told me that before game 1 of the finals that year. He gave me up. He's like, yo, Trevor is between Sac and the Lakers with Trevor. And it's probably going to be Sac because the Lakers can't offer him. Like, it was, I think LeBron was reportedly, in control and roster spots and all that. And he's like, yeah, LeBron's probably going to go with a bunch of these clutch guys. So Trevor.
Do you think that's real? Do you think that's real? Like LeBron is, I mean, I guess it wouldn't be figuratively. It'd be literally GMing the teams that he's on.
Not like all the way, but he's got say. He's got say for sure. And if he wants to get a guy paid, he does that. I mean, the biggest thing about it is it's one of the things that I'm starting to realize and that I don't like. I'm still not already trying to believe all the way through, but all this thing, a lot of this whole thing with free agency and all this stuff is about the agents. It's about the agents.
100%.
You know what I mean? And the agents essentially control everything. And they're trying to position stuff for the next contract. And, these teams, they take guys that maybe they don't want to take, but they want to keep that relationship with the agent for a guy that they really want down the road. Mm-hmm. So they'll take this guy that has nothing to do with basketball and nothing to do with that guy. It's all about the relationship with that agent and that agency to make sure they get a guy down the road that they really want. They'll do favors. Hey, remember we took less 2 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's time to pay that favor back. So I need you to overpay this guy or trade this guy. All this stuff is about the agent. So who's LeBron's one of his best friends? The biggest agent in the game right now. So yeah, LeBron will probably look at a situation like, yo, yeah, I want this guy here because Rich Paul, I want him here in LA. Make sure he gets paid. And KCP, yeah, you're going to pay him about $10-12 million than you normally would, but that's my guy. And I want him here and I want my guy taken care of. So afterwards, maybe you can trade him, but I need you to sign him to this contract first because we need that income coming in.
Yeah, I mean, and you don't have to really look much further than Anthony Davis in that situation in New Orleans. Mm-hmm. When Griff took over that job, his first order of business was to deal with the Anthony Davis situation. Well, remember, David Griffin was the general manager of Cleveland, mm-hmm. so he was very familiar with Rich Paul and working with him. So they worked things out the way that they did, and I'm sure it was all to kind of keep the peace and keep things moving, and let's make sure everybody is taken care of and taken care of fairly and all of that. Whereas Kings fans very familiar with, remember, everything that happened with DeMarcus Cousins was his agent's fault. What have you learned in this process, Vlade? Don't trust agents. Really? That's what you learned. Okay. Remember, and this is what I always tell people because people get so frustrated when you talk about agents, so they roll your eyes. Agents work for their players. This is their job. Their job isn't to make life easy for your favorite team. Mm-hmm. It's not to make life easy for the Sacramento Kings or the New Orleans Pelicans or the Philadelphia 76ers. I do think it's interesting that a couple of days after the season ended, though, Philadelphia brass, if you will, if you believe the reports out there, I assume Philadelphia brass includes Daryl Morey, Elton Brand, and Doc Rivers, met with Rich Paul. And my immediate thought was, oh, okay, that probably doesn't bode well for a team like Sacramento. Now, the Mark Stein's teams that he reported, not all of them coming back to my memory. I think Indiana was one, maybe Cleveland, Toronto was another.
Indiana, Toronto, and Minnesota.
Okay, and those aren't the teams those aren't big. Those aren't Rich Paul teams, so to speak. Right. Like that's not what I was expecting. Like now that Rich Paul is involved, I thought, oh man, this could be tough for them to facilitate a deal like they want. But the big difference between Ben Simmons and Anthony Davis is that, not speaking talent wise, is contract structure.
And like I mentioned yesterday, I don't think the contending teams in these markets, they're not looking at Ben Simmons like, yo, I need that. I need that. They're not. It's the guys that like the Kings who are trying to get from the outside into the club.
Well, how many? Sure, I agree. The one that we kind of called a truce on was Golden State. Because, and I think I only got you to call the truce on that because you hate Draymond Green more than you hate Ben Simmons. And so we were able to make that situation work, where I think Ben Simmons on the Golden State Warriors would be phenomenal for that team moving forward if they're willing to move on from Draymond Green. And I feel like I feel like the only thing that would keep Draymond there is like the emotional aspect of it. Like they feel some like emotional need to keep him there, and those 3 guys retire as Warriors or whatever. But that was the only one. That was the only one I could come up with. Brooklyn's already made their trades. Los Angeles, they're already in their position. Like, I don't know how many other contending teams are out there. Like, does Ben Simmons do anything for Boston? You know, you look at Ben Simmons in Milwaukee. Well, what would that ultimately take? Like, it's a little bit tougher when you get into contending teams versus teams like Sacramento, because you have to keep in place the players that made you a contender. Right. You know, we're talking about De'Aaron and Tyrese on a team that ain't made the playoffs ever. Mm-hmm. We're talking about Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum in Boston. Okay, that's untouchable. What else are we working with? Well, there's probably a few things we could do, but there are other pieces that are important to us contending.
Yeah. On top of that, Damian, the team that's trying to move on from them ain't the Pelicans. This is a team that's trying to win a championship.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, we want to move on from this guy.
And that's tough. And I think that also puts it's like if the Kings, if everybody woo-saw with me, this is just hypothetical. If the Kings were to trade De'Aaron Fox, people would just look at it, the Kings are stupid.
I can't woo-saw on that.
They would just look at it like, the Kings are stupid. They're trying to get out the contracts. They regretted the contract, blah, 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 blah. When you look at bad teams, Anthony Davis, that whole situation, well, it wasn't working. They were stuck in a tough spot. They move on from it. When you're a team that falls short of your championship goal, when you're a team that falls like short of just being in the championship conversation, and you're willing to move off from, I mean, we had always thought core in Philly was Joel and Ben. It tells a different story when you're willing to move off from him in Philadelphia, and you're that type of contending team.
Yeah.
Let's bring in Howard Eskin of WIP in Philly. Howard, we got you on just in time, man. We're talking about Ben Simmons in his time in Philly. What does it say that these trade discussions are so public about how the Philadelphia 76ers feel about Ben Simmons moving forward?
Can you take him, please? Take him, please. Please take Ben Simmons. You know, I've renamed Ben Simmons after the last couple of years. Benjamin does not have a J, so I took his name. But I was wrong in one area, Simmons. I said he's the only player in the NBA that wouldn't take a 13-foot jump shot. I was wrong. He's the only player in the NBA that won't take a dunk because he's afraid of getting fouled. I mean, please take him. Take him. There's no way he can play back here in Philadelphia. And Daryl Morey waited too long. He gambled, and you got to know when to hold him and know when to fold him. And if they actually had a chance to get James Harden at the trade deadline, they should have, or trade him this season. I forget whether it was at the trade deadline or well before that. They should have done it. And I don't care if they have to give up first-round draft picks. Ben Simmons just doesn't fit. They were never going to win a championship with Ben Simmons in Philadelphia. I still don't think he's going to be in Philadelphia. And I don't think they'll win a championship, obviously, with him in Philadelphia. You can't have a point guard who can't shoot, won't shoot, is afraid to go to the foul line, but he needs a change of scenery and maybe a wake-up call. But it's not going to work here. So with all these rumors and reports coming out, there's no question the Sixers are talking to other teams. They've got to try to find a way to move Ben Simmons. And I would think it would be before the draft, only because you would assume that there's going to be draft picks involved. But he's not going to make it here. Can he make it somewhere else? Well, maybe he's got to find the Yellow Brick Road and find a wizard to get a heart. And if he does that, maybe he can.
Howard, let me ask you, because I am out here in Sacramento, and I'm saying everything that you're saying, Howard. They think I'm just hating out here. I've seen this guy repeatedly for the last 3 years since the Toronto series. When I saw him just hide out in that short corner in the fourth quarter of every game, I said, Philly needs to trade this guy while they can still get something for him because he ain't it. I'm of the belief that it's not, oh, he just needs to get in the gym and he needs to work better. I think it's in his DNA. I think this is essentially who he is. Do you think that's what it is, or do you think it's more so of, he just needs a different change of scenery, needs to work, and things will improve? I don't believe he will.
Well, he needs to change his mentality. He was coddled by his parents for most of his life, and I was told that by other people who knew his parents. So he was coddled. If you ever go back and watch that Showtime documentary on Ben Simmons, it's obvious that he and the family only cared about the money. And Ben Simmons loves that now. He'll buy a new car every 3 or 4 weeks because he can. And that's okay. He wants to spend his money, but he's got to work. And he's got to work to try to get better. And he was dismissive of coaches who tried to help him at least change or improve his shot. But it is in his personality and his makeup and in his DNA. And can he change that? I think it takes a little bit of work, and it may take a wake-up call. But it's not going to happen here because they coddle him. When I don't call Doc Rivers Doc anymore because he hasn't earned that right. He's Glenn Rivers.
Oh, dear.
The only Doc in Philadelphia is Julius Erving. So Glenn Rivers has got to earn the name Doc. But because Glenn Rivers called him a treasure. And if you guys don't understand that, you just don't know basketball. Those are his words. And once you told us that, I said, all right, I'm done. This guy, he won't go to the foul line. He just, when he drives to the basket, if there's any kind of pressure on him, he'll kick. That's where he gets his assists. He kicks it back out to an open shooter, and hits a shot, he gets an assist. Because he doesn't want to go to the foul line. It is amazing when you watch, and people in this town called me a hater for like 3 years now. And I'm not a hater. I'm a realist who I talk to coaches and understand who he is and what he is. And it's got to change. And is it in his personality? Yes. But maybe somebody can shake it out of it and shake it out of him. But he can't play point guard. I think on a small team, you almost have to play center because you don't worry about him scoring. Just rebound and do what you can to play defense. And the only problem with that is everybody talks. Ben Simmons actually anointed himself the Defensive Player of the Year. I don't think he got a vote though. So I don't think he could name himself the Defensive Player of the Year. He normally does not play the best scoring guard for the other team. Now, when you play a center, he's going to have to play better defense, and and maybe he'll be forced, and that'll be the only player that he would play. And you don't worry about that as much in the NBA anymore. But he's got to be able to find a position where scoring is not the optimum. And I know he's got athleticism. I get it. But he's 6'10", playing 6'5" guards. But if he won't shoot, then I'll tell you this. Ben Simmons actually did us all a favor during the pandemic. He taught us how to socially distance.
Oh.
Players were only 6 feet away from the kind of things that we picked up here from Ben Simmons. And you guys, if you wanted, you could have him. When Daryl Morey said, I want an all-star caliber player, I know what you want, but you waited too long. Now, can they get something for him? You still have $147 million due to him because they signed him to a max contract at the time. So what do? Do you have to give up a first-round pick along with Ben Simmons and hope you get? I would take Buddy Hield and somebody else.
Let's do it. Let's do it, Howard.
Yeah, you guys can have him. I've got so, just enjoy his dismissive attitude towards coaches. But maybe another coach will be a little more forceful than the guy that were. What Glenn Rivers is not an enabler. He's a enabler. because he allows him to do whatever he wants to do.
Boy, do we've got the perfect coach for him. Holy smokes. Howard Eskin, the president of the Ben Simmons fan club in Philadelphia, joining us here on D-Lo and KC. Does he love basketball?
I don't know. And I would say I question whether he does. He loves money. He loves to be a focus. He loves social media. And, when he gets a new car, he takes a picture and posts it up on Instagram with it. Do you think the average wage earner who might make $40,000 or $50,000 a year really cares about Ben Simmons and his new car? That's what he loves. Does he love basketball? I would say if I have to say yes or no, I would say no. I would say no, he doesn't love basketball. Now, he's got no guts, and obviously I say he's got no heart. He turned down the Australian Olympic team in 2016 after he was the first-round pick. They obviously wanted him to play on the team. And at that point, you say, all right, he's the first-round pick. Maybe he's not ready for that. Then he turned down the FIBA games. And then he turned down the Australian Olympic team this year, saying he was going to work on his skills. Well, the first order of business to work on his skills was go to Wimbledon with a girlfriend.
I saw that.
The center he had, who was his girlfriend, I think kicked him to the curb. But she stepped up though. She got Devin Booker.
Oh, that's getting the GOAT, man. The GOAT out there in Philly. Let me ask you something else real quick, Howard, about this whole Ben Simmons and Philadelphia thing. A lot of people feel like Doc Rivers and Joel Embiid were out of line after that Game 7. With Doc, you call him Glenn, saying he doesn't know if he can win with Ben Simmons, and then Joel Embiid pointing out the not attempting to dunk as a turning point of the game. With Joel specifically, was that more of the buildup of seeing this type of stuff happen for the last 2-3 years, as opposed to was just that moment that had him say, you know what, this is what happens every year, and this was the turning moment? Do you think it was more of that as opposed to just specifically that moment?
Well, Joel's not stupid. I mean, he knows what Ben is and what he was. But once Brett Brown left, I don't think Joel and Ben were on the same page, because Joel knew that Brett Brown always kissed Joel's rear end, because Brett Brown was friends with Ben Simmons' parents. So, that was kind of a little bit of an edge. But they got closer, and he knows that Ben Simmons' shortfalls. But I think in that moment, the frustration of him standing out there at the top of the key, watching Ben Simmons not dump the ball, as Ben Simmons says, well, I knew there was a defender behind me. What does that mean? That means you're worried about getting fouled, so he passes it off to somebody else who only made 1 out of 2 foul shots. I think he passed it off to Thibault, and he only made 1 out of 2, and he got fouled. But Joel knows what the situation is. Will Joel ever say you got to get rid of Ben Simmons? No, he'll never say that. But he'll dance around it. But he was clearly, you just saw his mannerisms, because you saw it on video, that he was clearly frustrated with him not taking the dunk. That was a key moment. I think they were only down 1 or 2 points at the time. Yeah. It was, it doesn't surprise me that they have not won more than 1 round in the playoffs for the last 8 years. Now, that's only been like 3 or 4 years that they've been in the playoffs. I guess it's 3 or 4 years. But Joel understands, I think, that some things have to change. They really need another outside shooter. They really need a good outside shooter, and Ben Simmons is not the guy. Benjamin can take his game somewhere else. It's not going to make it here. Here's what's going to happen. I'm just going to lay it out for you. If he's still here at the beginning of the season, then I think it would be an unbelievably drastic mistake. Is that a double adjective? I don't even know what it is. I'm not an English major. However, if he comes out in the introduction and they say Ben Simmons, the fans will boo his ass off. And then the first time he goes to the foul line and he misses the foul shot, he will be brutalized. He will be done. He can't. I think he needs a small town. I don't know enough about Sacramento, but in the grand scheme of our country, it's a smaller town. There's not as much media attention. Obviously, there's not as much pressure. And he needs a place where there's no pressure. Just try to do the things that he can do. But he's got to have a supporting cast around him, and he's got to have shooters. So if you're playing the guard, you've got to have a small forward and a shooting guard to be the shooters. I don't know how you can make it somewhere else. I don't know how Sacramento would configure their team, but if they want them, and there's some teams that want them, but they're not going to give you, I don't think, a lot. All these people talk about, I'll get a draft pick that's unprotected. You know, in Philadelphia, you're talking about Cleveland taking Love because you're going to have to take money back and the third pick in the draft. If Cleveland gives up the third pick in the draft, that general manager ought to be ridden out of town so quickly. How can you? I just don't know how you can get a high pick for them. And I think they're going to have to give up the first round pick, which really isn't that good because they should be a good enough team. Their pick would be in the 20s. This year it's 28 anyway. So just to move that, you got to move the money as well as move Ben Simmons. And he doesn't have the value he might have had a year ago. But there's teams that will take a chance on him, and apparently Sacramento is one of those teams. A lot of teams are going to talk to him, and they're not going to give you what you want for him, but they're going to give you something. Like I said, Buddy Hield, from what I remember, and I didn't see enough of the Sacramento games, is still a pretty good shooter. So, I mean, they could use him, and they could build around that and then work and try to get some other players if you've got some money to spend. But he's not going to make it here. But if he plays in Sacramento, that means I only have to see him play a year.
Howard, this went exactly as we expected. Thanks for carving out some.
Howard Eskin.
We had a feeling, Howard. Thanks for joining us, my friend. We appreciate you so much.
Okay. Well, if I ever get out to Sacramento, I'll see you guys. Hey, you guys got parked in Tahoe? Are you parked in Tahoe?
Not at all, man. That's one of Sacramento's selling points.
I caddied for Barkley out there for 3 years, and I thought Sacramento was close. If I ever come out there to caddy for him again, I will make sure I'll spend a little more time and come out to Sacramento.
I like it, man. Lunch on us.
Okay.
We appreciate you, Howard.
Have a great day and a better day tomorrow.
Take care, Howard.
That's Howard Eskin, WIP in Philadelphia. Also, wow. There's a lot. That has been dubbed no Vaseline. Howard Eskin. We've got the takeover. I know there was an ether reference.
Oh, man.
Here's what they think about you. I've got to get that soundbite program. Here's what they think about you. Jeez, man.
And I mean, he brought up a couple of good points. We're riding this through, right? Just to make sure.
We're going. We're riding.
So he brought up a couple of good points. Number one, he talked about how Ben Simmons says, I'm not going to go to the Olympics because I'm going to work on my game. And yeah, I saw the pictures. He was snuggled up in Wimbledon. Now he could have been.
Come on, man. It doesn't have to be in the gym every day.
Hey, so let me ask you, you think he was in the gym in England?
Yes.
I do not.
Yes. Wait, I'm sorry. Did you say, do I think he was at the gym in England?
Yeah, when he was in Wimbledon.
No. That doesn't mean he's not. Where the Olympics ain't started.
Come on.
Stop it. Go and joining Australia. That means being in Las Vegas right now. That means being in Tokyo for 3.5 weeks. Come on, man. He's allowed to go to Wimbledon. He's allowed, and I get, Howard was. I get the shtick, posting the stuff on social media. I get all that. Let's not pretend like just because he went to Wimbledon or because he bought a car that he's not going to go to the gym and work out. That he's not going to get training in. That he's not going to work with a trainer. That he's not now. But now I would call into question whether he's doing that stuff because maybe he doesn't love basketball as much as other people may say that he does, but I'm not going to say because he was at Wimbledon, he's not going to be in the gym.
No, but here's the thing.
Man, live his life.
Is he after everything that just happened? I don't know if I'd be at Wimbledon. Maybe there's two train of thought. Some people are like, just get away from it all. But I'll tell you this. But here's the other thing about that, though. Yeah, he's going to be working out. He's going to be in the gym. But here's the story with Ben Simmons. Is he going to be in there enough? Is he going to be in there enough?
He's not O.J. Simpson, for God's sakes. The man can go out in public and go to Wimbledon and have fun.
He can do whatever he wants. Is he going to be in there enough?
What's enough?
Enough to be better than a 50% free throw shooter.
Yes. I'm sure he's in a gym to be enough more than a 50% free throw shooter.
I don't know what's going to convince you guys, man.
It's not you guys. It's me. These are my opinions.
You're not alone, though. You're not alone. You're not alone. I don't know.
All I need,
been showing this to us for the last 3-4 years, and now we're like, yeah, he gonna turn it around. He gonna get better. All right, man. The other thing about that, though, basketball wise, that he talked about, that I didn't think about, which is a good point, and it's not impossible.
Yeah.
But if you bring Ben Simmons in,
and
you move him to a forward or center, that kind of defeats what he's great at, and that's defending on the perimeter. Now you can still do that, but depending on the matchups, if he's playing center and they got one center or one big in the game, what you gonna make De'Aaron Fox guard the big so Ben Simmons can guard the guard on the perimeter? It kind of defeats the purpose of what's going on. It works in Philly because you got guys like Thibault, Tobias Harris, and Joel Embiid. Does it work the same way in Sacramento? I don't know. It could. It just kind of, I guess, depends on the matchup from the other team as well.
I hadn't thought about.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I hadn't thought about the pick, like the Kemba Walker deal. Right, how Boston sent a pick with Kemba Walker. I hadn't thought about that with Ben Simmons. Honestly, I didn't think we were there. I didn't think, and I know it's what did he say? Pick 28, I think he said.
Yeah.
So it's not okay. It's not like the most enticing pick. It's still a first round pick. It's not the most enticing pick. Maybe we do the old Philadelphia pick swap. Why run it back? Let's do it again. Maybe you do that.
Now we're in control.
Well, I don't know. It again. It's if things like in Jason Anderson's article this morning about a leak source tells me 3 potential first round picks, it's like that's cute. Say it publicly, it's fine, because I don't believe, as much as we've discussed this today, I don't believe they're getting that from Sacramento. Truth be told, they're not getting that from anybody.
I don't think so.
That's like Anthony Davis stuff. Ben Simmons isn't Anthony Davis. That's Kawhi Leonard and Paul George stuff. He's neither one of those guys. That's not what that is. So they're not getting 3 first round picks, in my opinion, from Sacramento or anybody else. But we get into pick swaps. Maybe we're having a different conversation from 9 to 28, or from a respective trade partner down to 28 and they move up, or whatever it may be. But I throw this question back out. What is Philadelphia looking for? Are they looking for a scorer? Was that Ben Simmons' problem? Joel Embiid didn't have enough help. He didn't have enough score. He didn't have enough scoring help. Excuse me, because if Ben Simmons is your guy, or if Buddy Hield is the guy to fill that role, I thought you brought up a great point. Don't you already have? Do you already have a Curry on your team who had a pretty decent playoff,
damn good playoff
stretch?
He was the second best player, and I'm not saying it with any shade, but he was like that good. That's all I'm saying. Like he was.
No, he was.
He was great in the playoffs.
So I don't know why Buddy fits there. You get significantly weaker defensively, which is something Glenn will not put up with. He's still Doc to me, but I'll play the bit here for a minute.
Can't even say his mama called him Doc, so I'm gonna call him Doc. Can't even say that. Mama called him Glenn.
Yeah, it does. Very much does. Very much does. But that's not something Doc Rivers tolerates.
Right.
He's not going for that.
Right.
So I mentioned this earlier. You might have a better shot in Boston. Sending Marcus Smart to Philadelphia along with. They got rid of their first round pick already, but
maybe so. But I mean, what he said to me really stuck out when he talked about moving. He can't be a guard, and that's almost like I don't know how familiar you are with it, but in baseball, for a long time they would say, "We'll just move Buster Posey to first base," and they're like, "Well, no, because he's more. What he does is more valuable at the catcher position than it is at first base. What he does, if he's a first baseman, you can kind of find that wherever. But at the catcher, you don't find that type of offensive threat and somebody that can hit at the catcher position. So him being a catcher and being able to do all that is way higher in value than him being a first baseman and being able to do all that. And when you talk about Ben Simmons, you're like, well, all right, let's move him to the 4. Well, part of what makes him special is he was a point guard at that size. If he's a forward now, or even a center, he's just another 6'10" guy that's athletic. That takes away from what makes him special. So you're kind of in a rock and a hard place, whether you're Philly, Sacramento, or whoever gets him. Like, do you take him as a point guard still because that's what makes him special, being able to do that at the point guard position, or do you bite the bullet and say he's not a point guard? We're going to use him better here in the dump down spot at the 4 or the 5 or something like that, and kind of lower his value and what makes him special. I didn't think about that.
Could you do both, particularly in Sacramento? If you started him at 3 or 4, your first substitution is a 3 or let's say De'Aaron, and you move Ben to 1, or Tyrese and you move De'Aaron to 2 and Ben to 1.
Well, you could, but then it's like, well, who's going to guard the center, or who's going to guard the forward? You know what I'm saying? Like, let's just say De'Aaron, he's the 4.
Nerlons, Noel.
Yeah.
I mean, Rashawn Holmes. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean,
the problem with the Kings is the problem is Ben Simmons or anybody else. We could be talking about LeBron James demanding a trade to Sacramento. He doesn't fix every issue that the Kings have. So one player coming in isn't going to fix the sea of deficiencies that this team has. You know what I'm saying? So, like, we could talk about who's going to guard this position, who's going to guard this position. We're going to have that same conversation whether Ben Simmons is a Sacramento King or not.
Yeah, yes or no, but it's different.
But why no? Like, why no though?
Ben Simmons, because Ben Simmons, like I said, if you're, let's just say, for instance, we're talking about crunch time, really, fourth quarter. If De'Aaron Fox is on the floor and Ben Simmons is guarding a point guard, and Ben Simmons is your power forward, well, where does De'Aaron Fox go defensively? Is he guarding your point guard, or are you moving Harrison Barnes and making him guard the 4? And now De'Aaron is guarding the 3?
Wouldn't De'Aaron and Tyrese just guard the 2?
Well, De'Aaron and Tyrese can't guard the 2. Somebody's got to guard somebody else. If Ben is, let's take Phoenix, for example, because they're playing. Or let's take Milwaukee. If Ben Simmons guards Chris Middleton, well, who's De'Aaron going to guard? Brook Lopez?
Why are you shifting De'Aaron all the way down to the 5?
Okay, well, who is Harrison Barnes going to guard? Brook Lopez?
I feel like we've seen that.
Giannis?
Well, again, you're not going to fix all of the deficiencies with one player acquisition. Like, if you take Ben Simmons off, how is the defensive match? How did the defensive matchup work up against Milwaukee this year
for the Kings?
Yeah,
not very well. I mean, they had problems guarding Chris Middleton.
Oh man, that's a stunner.
Yeah,
I don't imagine it went too well with Giannis either.
Giannis didn't even play the second time. First time I think he played.
Well, perhaps they defended him well then in that game that he didn't play.
I don't think so. I doubt it.
I don't even remember the Milwaukee game. Couldn't guard him on the bench. I don't even remember that game. Why didn't he play?
The second one here in Sacramento, he didn't play. That's when Terrence Davis had like 36 or something. Terrence Davis had a really good game.
Okay.
And they lost by 3. Chris Middleton killed him. I think Drew Holiday killed De'Aaron Fox too. Oh,
good. Wow. You remember everything, dude. I
remember
your memory. Your memory is wild. You know, you don't remember stuff Jazz, the Queen Bee tells you to do, but you remember everything sports related.
Some would say that's the most important thing.
Yes, anyone with a brain would say that's the most important thing. we talk for fun. That's not the most important stuff. But I'm glad that you've got that memory, and I'm glad that you've got Kenny Caraway's mock draft 4.0.
Oh yeah.
If it's not Ben Simmons, who's the player that can come in here and fix everything? We've got that mock draft 4.0 coming up, plus your next opportunity to win $1,000 here on Sacramento's #1 sports station. It's D'Lo and KC here on Twitch, on YouTube, on the Odyssey app, and on ESPN 1320.
That's a wild boy. That's Philly for you right there.
Something. Hang on, guys. 1 second.
Hey, Leezy, if you think Ben Simmons is good, that's cool. I'm not here to convince you otherwise. If you like him, all right. All right. It's all good. Leezy's just so appalled that people don't look at Ben Simmons the way he looks at him. Like, I look at him how I look at him. If you look at him how you do, that's cool too. Don't bother me none. And if he proves me wrong, he proves me wrong. It's all good. It's not a big deal.
Narrator. He did not prove him wrong. Okay. Oh, man.
Guy says, I agree. I ain't giving up Fox and Alley. That's all I've talked about all day. I said Marvin and Buddy.
Leezy don't actually listen. He just like angry tweets. He just angry types. That's all he does. He doesn't actually listen. But that's cool. Like it's good. We appreciate you, bro.
Nah, I'm all right with Leezy, man. I agree, Shida, man. I'm not giving up.
He's firing off his next angry take now.
Hey, if he came to the Kings and Ben Simmons continued to be an all-star and got better, I'll be on J Street. I'll be at Doco.
Hoop Ball podcast tonight, by the way. Hoop Ball podcast. Jill, Drake, Bryant.
Wait, Drake?
Yeah.
Drake?
You.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm holding off Drake from the radio show to
the Drake. That's Drake. That's the
talking Raptors.
That's a new Drake.
Somebody tell me
we're going. It's going to be 13 again.
That's a good question. Jesse, are we doing 13? Okay.
All right. Oh, snap. My bad. Yeah, man. Let me get that to you.
Man.
The minimal changes.
Out.
Oh. We'll see what's going to happen next. Okay. Excuse me.
Need to go to the Genius Bar or something.
I'm going to have to move this up sooner rather than later. Jess continues to say that I'm loud. I don't think that I'm loud.
Yeah, when you move into the new studio.
I need to go to work on that. And that's probably going to happen this week. I gotta find a couple things. I need a backdrop. You know what I'm saying? I need to figure out how I'm gonna do the bottles and stuff. I got to figure that out.
Yeah. Oh, we got Kenny Caraway's mock draft 4.0 coming up here in just a heartbeat. Some other things we want to touch on too. We'll get to Aaron Rodgers might be speaking to a particular member of the media. It won't be a shocker for you to find out it's Adam Schefter. Also, remember when I said I wanted to go 5 minutes without seeing Richard Sherman's name pop up on my phone? That has not happened.
Damn.
I know we put Richard Sherman in a box.
If you got some clarity on this whole thing, please take him out of the box.
No, it's not clarity. Nope, it's not clarity. I just need to read this sentence to you.
Okay.
Richard Sherman was also booked for Jesse, let's start over in 3, 2, and 1. Richard Sherman was also booked for malicious mischief for the damage he caused to the door. So apparently Richard Sherman is in trouble for a number of things, not the least of which is damage caused to a door.
A house door, a car door.
With that said, Richard Sherman back in the box closed, and it's put over to the side of D'Lo and Casey here.
This is a bizarre story.
Bruh. It very much is. And
this is crazy.
Not something. Yeah, didn't wake up thinking I was going to get a series of bizarre texts regarding Richard Sherman. But they're out there.
Can I take him out the box for a quick second and just mention something else that I just saw?
At your own risk.
Richard Sherman suffered a minor laceration in the lower leg and ankle due to the canine. He was treated at a nearby hospital before booking.
Can you clarify further? Is this the police canine, or was this like a dog at a house that was just like, oh, it's Rich, I'm going to bite him?
This is from Joe Fan. I think he's NBC Sports Northwest in Seattle or whatever. I'm trying to find a precursor tweet or anything. I think this is coming from the officer, but he has it in quotes. He says, Richard Sherman suffered a, quote, minor laceration in the lower leg and ankle due to the canine, end quote.
Damn,
man.
You ready to put old Rich back in the box?
Yeah.
Just gonna leave this Richard Sherman story alone. Maybe, perhaps, possibly forever. Let's get into something more fun here. Kenny Caraway's mock draft 4.0. Is it Moses Moody or is it someone else? Is Cade Cunningham still going number one? Is Scotty Barnes falling into that elite, or not falling into, but jumping into that elite group of 4? Where are we at right now? What do we've got here, KC? Mock draft 4.0.
Well, there are some things that I'm hearing, some things that I'm reading when you talk about these top 3 picks. And I got to be honest with you, I'm not going to get reckless. I'm not going to get careless with it right now. I'm not ready to act on the things that I'm hearing when it comes to the top 3 picks. So number 1 is still Cade Cunningham. Number 2, still Jalen Green. Monitor that situation.
Oh,
so
okay, yes, I got you.
Monitor that situation.
Yep.
Number 3, Evan Mobley still. Number 4, Jalen Suggs. Number 5, Scotty Barnes. Number 6, Jonathan Kuminga. Number 7 is my guy, James Bouknight. And Bouknight moved into the top 10 in mock draft 3.0. And I think he's locked in there. I've heard about how he had this great combine out in Chicago, what he was able to do on the court and in the interview room. James Bouknight, 7 to the Warriors. That would be big time. That would be big time for them. The change that I made here, number 8, Orlando. Last week I had them taking Franz Wagner. I got Wagner out of that 8 spot. I got them going with Davion Mitchell, point guard out of Baylor at 8. That leaves the Kings at 9, still taking Moses Moody, shooting guard out of Arkansas, and number 10, Keon Johnson, shooting guard out of Tennessee. Now, a couple follow-up notes. Number one, Jalen Johnson is still around there. I've seen him around the 11-12 range. So maybe the Kings reach for him still. Remember, he was their pick for me after mock draft 1.0. Second thing, I heard a lot of Kai Jones rumbling this week, center out of Texas. I like his game. I do like him. I don't know. He's a little rough around the edges. I don't know if he's ready to come in and produce. Like, he's a center. I don't know if you draft him to start day one if you lose Rashawn Holmes. That's not the case. But I like him. I like his athleticism. I like the things he brings to the table. And then last but not least, Jared Springer out of Tennessee.
That's Jared Springer, right? Just want to make sure we got that right. Not Jerry. Okay.
Jared. Springer, interesting prospect. I've seen him moving up, and a lot of the people that I follow with these things, they're intrigued by him. Keep your eye on him in the next 2 mock drafts. Does he crack the top 10? He's already in the top 10 in some mocks. I wasn't ready to put him there just yet, but he's rising up.
I noticed something. I want to take a quick glance at your last one. Yep, one more. Yeah. So you had the Kings in mock draft 1.0, taking kind of, and you said this is a swing at Jalen Johnson, but he hasn't been in any mock draft since then. Is that what it for Jalen Johnson? You know, the young man at Duke to be a top 10 pick. Is it a team who's essentially taking that big swing, taking a chance, like you were referred to, 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago?
Yeah, I think so. I think right now there's not a chance of him going ahead of 8. Like, maybe the Magic take a swing, but I don't see the Warriors or the first Magic pick, I don't see them taking that. And even with him not being in the mock since, from what I see, he's 11-12. Like, he's right outside there. He could go to New Orleans. I just don't have New Orleans taking him because of Zion being there and trying to clog all that up. But I mean, he's a top 10 talent, I think. Okay. Top 10 prospect, I should say.
Is he one of those? He's not on the level of, because for different reasons.
Before you explain that, let's get these guys paid.
Okay, let's get them paid. That's a good call.
Here comes the money. Here we go. Money talk. Here comes the money.
It's time for the Summer of Cash contest. Here's your chance to win $1,000 by texting the code word you'll never guess. You'll never guess the word. Text the code word Stripe to 72881. That's Stripe to 72881. This is a multi-state contest. The message and data rates apply. And remember, don't text and drive.
The Stripe is, I think they're in the lead.
They might be.
Stripe has been at least 4 times, maybe even 5 or 6.
Yeah, it's been a lot. And that one errant time that Stripe was actually strip, it was wild. When you factor all those in together, man, it's wild. Jalen Johnson has really, like, the potential return on him is really high. Like, that's why you talk about taking a big swing. Are you confident? Like, I know you haven't put him back in the selection of the Kings, but when you selected Michael Porter Jr., when we did a mock draft for 2018, you could have taken Trey. There's a lot you could have done there, but you took Michael Porter Jr. for the Sacramento Kings. That's taking a big swing. That's believing the potential that may be ahead of you. Does Jalen Johnson have the type of return that Michael Porter Jr. would have? Or let me rephrase it. Does Jalen Johnson have the same type of return that Michael Porter Jr. did have when Denver took him?
I don't think so. I don't see him like that. I hold Michael Porter Jr. a little higher in regard than maybe most people do. But I thought Michael Porter Jr. has the potential to be the leading scorer in the league at one point in time. Jalen Johnson didn't have that. He's a good ball player. Like I said, ironically, one of the comps, and I see it, is somebody like Ben Simmons. He can be in Ben Simmons type of player. He has those type of skills, those type of tools, and he's got the same frame and everything. So I see him more in that vein. I looked at Michael Porter Jr. in like not to say he would be this, but like a Kevin Durant at 6'10", being able to shoot and do the things he was able to do. I feel like he lost some of that athleticism with some of the back issues that he's had, but I saw him like that. I don't see Jalen Johnson in that vein.
We'll come back. We'll talk more draft. We've got some quick hits as well. We'll talk about the All-Star game. We got James Ham set to join us. More Kings Talk plenty on the way, but the 13th round begins now over on Twitch and YouTube, and we're back with more here on Sacramento's #1 sports station, ESPN 1320.
Yes, sir. 13th round going on. I was trying to see exactly because something caught my eye in the boxing world right now. Let me read this one on air, though, because we got to see what's going on here. Mike Coppinger, ESPN writer, he says, sources, Canelo Alvarez still in talks to fight Caleb Plant on September 18th for all 4 168-pound belts, with Vegas being the front runner. Mexican Independence Day weekend, about 8 weeks out. So Alvarez hopes to have a decision soon. Another option has emerged. It's Dimitri Bivol. And PBC will do a 1-fight deal with Canelo for a Caleb Plant on Fox pay-per-view card, per sources. That's fine, too. The bottom line is we need Canelo to fight Caleb Plant and have that opportunity to unify, be in a situation where he's maximizing his dollar with pay-per-view. I think a Canelo pay-per-view would be huge. He'd do big numbers with a Canelo pay-per-view. So I think that's the move. If it takes a 1-fight deal, that's fine too. But I want to see him. I don't want to see him on fighting anybody that the zone has at this point, outside of Demetrius Andrade. I don't want to see him fighting Bivol. I don't want to see him fighting any of them guys, Triple G. Nobody wants to see that. We only want to see Canelo fighting Plant, Charlo, Benavidez. And then hopefully maybe in the future, Berlanga. All right. That's all we want to see from Canelo at this point in time. We don't want to see all these other dudes. We don't want to see it. Simple as that. David's here saying nobody wants to see B-ball. You're right. Nobody wants to see that. Nobody wants to see that. It's trash. All right. The other thing about Canelo on Fox pay-per-view and just Canelo in general, I'm down for rematches. I'm down for trilogies. So if he fights a Caleb Plant, it shouldn't be a one-off. Let's see it again. If he fights David Benavidez, let's see a trilogy there. Shouldn't be a one-off. I'm all for it, man. I'm all for it. So there's that. Patrick says no interest in seeing him fight Andrade. I wouldn't mind seeing it. I really wouldn't mind seeing it. It's a style that he hasn't fought a lot against. So I like to see what that will look like. If he went with Charlo, obviously not a one-off. Let's be open-minded. Like I said, if he knocks him out the way he knocks out Billy Joe Saunders, maybe we don't need to see, a rematch or anything like that. But let's be open-minded. Let's have some rematches. Let's have some trilogies going on here. Another thing I saw earlier was they were talking about PBC maybe looking to put Tank in the ring again in October, possibly against JoJo Diaz. I'd love to see that fight. I think Tank would beat the hell out of JoJo Diaz. I think he will beat the hell out of JoJo Diaz. I'd love to see it, though. Absolutely. 13th round with your man, Kenny Caraway. Guess who's Bizak? The boy B. Mizak.
Yeah, I'm probably going to lose my computer again, bro. So I'll do everything I can to figure it out before then. But
Did it just happen just now and you rebooted it or
no? I was unplugging stuff trying to get the computer to charge. It won't charge. Like it won't get power. It won't get power from an outlet. It's just draining. It's just draining the battery, and it's not gonna last till 4. We got James Ham set to join us just about an hour from now. Can't wait to get James' thoughts on Ben Simmons, Nerlons, Noel, some of these different things that are going on in the world of the Sacramento Kings. So we've got all that coming up. If you want to be a part of the show, many ways you could do it. You can watch on twitch.tv/ESPN1320, youtube.com/ESPN1320. Watch on the Odyssey app, or you can give us a call, 916-34. You can't watch on the Odyssey app. I take that back. You can listen on the Odyssey app.
That's going to be next, though, because Odyssey, they do everything. They're in front of everything.
Wouldn't be surprised. Wouldn't be surprised at all. 916-349-1320 if you want to get in on this conversation. A couple of quick notes here. I don't know if you saw that, like Pro Football Reference, they're going back and they're like adding they're accumulating like stats, and they're doing sacks right now where, you know, sacks weren't an official stat until I think like 1982. And for some reason they're just now getting around to going back and counting stats from before 1982, and they found that Al Baker, interestingly enough, his nickname is Buddha Baker. Al Buddha Baker. He's actually the single season sack leader in NFL history. He had 23 sacks in a single season. Of course, Michael Strahan's record was 22 and a half.
No, wait a minute. Why you do all that?
Because he finished the season with 21 and a half sacks, but his buddy laid down for him so he could get 22 and a half. It was the phoniest thing I've ever seen. Stop it.
So we're just going to diminish the man?
No, he had 20, Michael having 21 and a half sacks.
22 and a half.
He had 21 and a half phenomenal sacks, and he had Brett Favre laid down for him for 22 and a half.
He finished with 22 and a half. He
finished with 22 and a half, but he really had 21 and a half. It doesn't matter. He could have 22 and 3/4. It doesn't matter because the real all-time sack leader is now Buddha Baker, who in 1978 had 23 sacks, and nobody laid down for him. So
do you know that?
I would assume what would be the benefit in a quarterback laying down for him?
What would be the benefit of Brett Favre laying down for
Brett Favre has publicly said he laid down for him.
What would be the benefit?
He just curled so his friend could get the record.
So Buddha, and did somebody lay down for him?
It wasn't a record. It wasn't a stat.
They could have just laid down for him. We don't know that. It's not disrespect to Michael Strahan.
You sound ridiculous right now. Just a quarterback just going to curl up in a ball like Brett Favre did.
Jim Everett did it.
He just
Jim Everett did it.
For who?
When he played the Niners in the NFC Championship game. Saw ghosts.
Well, that was different. He actually thought somebody was hitting him. Like, he thought someone was coming for him. Brett Favre was like, "Oh, hey, buddy, here, congratulations. Here's the record."
Nah, I don't. Hey, Michael Strahan, 22 and a half sacks.
21.
It is what it is. It is what it is.
Also, Pro Football Reference was also able to find out that Deacon Jones led the NFL in sacks 6 different times: 1964, 1965, 1967, 1968, 1969. In addition to, was that 1960? I think was the other year that he did it. That's noteworthy because a number of other players, I think 12 players have led the league in sacks twice. And that's it. Twice. So for Deacon Jones to have done it 5-6 times, that's pretty extraordinary.
So here's the thing that I want to figure out about them going back to get the sack totals. How are they doing this? Did they explain it at all? And I'm not disputing it. I'm just saying, like, how does this work? Are they, because if
I assume with NFL films, that's just a complete assumption on my part. They work. That they're working with NFL films going through archives. Yeah, no, they're working with NFL films going through archives, and that's how they're counting these.
Well, like, and I'm laughing because I just saw the Brett Favre play when he laid down.
Did he lay down or did he not?
He laid down.
It looked like the finger poke of doom.
So he laid down. Here's the thing. Here's what really is the issue. And Patrick says, yeah, you had to lay down to avoid getting smashed. So what you would be arguing is Brett Favre called a play that he knows his right tackle wasn't going to be able to defend, because it wasn't like everybody was in on it then, because it wasn't like there was any resistance from Michael Strahan.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he was there wide open without anybody around him. So he got open.
Maybe he told his tackle, hey, fam, move out the way.
He might have. I'm not even disputing that. I think what it is he called a play that he knows wasn't going to be blocked correctly, and he ran right into it and then laid down. But it was more than just, I'm going to lay down because Michael Strahan was there. He was there because either the right tackle didn't do his job or he beat the hell out of the right tackle. But he was wide open.
Yep.
Clearly still could have been a setup. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying there's more to that than he just laid down.
It was a setup. Speaking of quarterbacks, I can't. Ben Roethlisberger's in the best shape of his life.
Ben Roethlisberger. Didn't we just do the 13th round where people, when they train for fights, say, this is the best training camp of my life? Every fight. Ben Roethlisberger, best training camp of his life, huh?
Well, this is the first time I've ever heard this about Ben Roethlisberger, about him being in great shape. But it's funny. It's like, was he 37, 38, took a pay cut, come back to the Steelers, arguably at the end of his career, and just thought, you know what? Let me not be a fat slob anymore. Let me go ahead and get into shape. Let me try to take care of my body. So everybody else in my class is essentially retired. Let me go ahead and get moving here. Everyone in my draft class is gone. I'm going to get in shape now. Hey, good for him for finally doing it. He's not my favorite player.
Yeah, Ben Roethlisberger, best shape of his life in his last year of his career.
You know what's funny? Wasn't that team like 11-5 last year, or 12-4,
13-3 or something?
Did they finish that?
Maybe 12-4 or something like that.
I think they were 11-0. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Mm-hmm. Like, they were the last undefeated team, and every week, no, and none. And it don't mean anything. They're as inconsequential as could possibly be.
Yeah. Now, the Utah Jazz of our power.
Bruh. I believed in the Jazz more than I believed in the Steelers, and I didn't believe in the Jazz at all. 916-349-1320. Let's get to our man, Stefan. Stefan, what's good, baby?
How are you guys doing today?
What's up, Stefan?
Not much. You know, I was listening to this, and I've been seeing all over the place. We can't trade for Ben Simmons. Well, first off, we don't have enough to give them, and they want too much. For a guy who really, honestly, at this stage of his career, if you don't have a jumper down, you're just not going to have one. You don't. What do you like? One guy said earlier today, I was watching on Facebook. He said, "So what does he do in the offseason? In the offseason, when you're working on this, when you didn't have a 12-foot jumper, let alone a 3-pointer. So I mean, and you can't hit free throws. You're a professional basketball player. You shot 37% in the playoffs from free throw line. Come on, that's worse than Shaq. And Shaq admittedly doesn't work on free throws. We don't need Ben Simmons. What we truly need is get a guy who we know, let's say he's averaging like 10 points a game, but he only plays like 20 minutes of the game. It's like he's got a good basketball IQ, somebody who's coachable. You know what I mean? Somebody we can plug in and play. I mean, we got guys right now, and if we can plug in guys right now, I'm not going to say no names, but, you know, he's from the Caribbean, who has like no basketball IQ at all, plug in and play him, then why can't we've got to get somebody who knows basketball. The last time we got anybody who's basketball was when we got Blotty or we got Weber, which I don't know what happened. But that was like the God who blessed us with guys who actually know how to play basketball. Mm-hmm. So we can do it again. We don't want somebody who everybody else is giving up on like that. You know, and giving up on for a good reason. He was exposed this playoffs for what he cannot do. You can't have the ball in your hand, can't shoot jumpers, and can't hit free throws. That makes no sense. That's what we're going to move into the small force five, not giving the ball. He can't play with De'Aaron because De'Aaron's going to break the defense down, dish out to Ben Simmons, and Ben Simmons is going to drive to the cup and not shoot the jumper. And he gets fouled and then don't hit the free throw. Come on, guys. Are we cooking with grease or are we cooking with something else? I cook with grease. I don't know about you guys.
We might not be cooking, Steph. I think that's part of the problem. The Kings might not be cooking. They just kind of
cook. We need them to get that grease, man. We need that. I might go get some fish tonight.
Okay. Focus, fam. Focus. We got 90 minutes of the show before we talk about frying fish or whatever we're going to do out there. Cooking with grease. Okay. Who's the player then? Who is it? Who's the guy?
I don't know. But I thought about this, and I thought about some of the stuff we talked about during the season. And the Kings need a dog. Well, remember that?
I remember well.
They need a dog.
Yep.
And that's what they need. I'm not saying it's this guy specifically, but Amon Shepard type. You know, we love Amon out here, the scores, all this other stuff. Even Mo Harkless brought a little bit of that and changed the mentality.
Mm-hmm.
A Tony Allen type. You know what I'm saying? A dog.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody that's not going to back down. Somebody that this team could feed off of. And like I said earlier, in the locker room, he can help police that locker room before it even gets to the coaches. That's the type of guy they're missing right now.
Who's that guy, though? That's the problem. Like, we could talk about who they're missing or attributes of players that they're missing, all of these different things. But who's the player?
Well, I mean, give me a second here. You got to look at the free agent. Got to see the
Nerlons Noel. The answer is Nerlons Noel.
Noel is kind of tough.
No, and all kidding aside, he could be the answer to the toughness issue. But the problem is he's like lower on the totem pole.
He's not going to. I don't think, at least, he's going to change your fortunes as a franchise. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's a good little piece. I like Nerlens Noel, but it's not sign Nerlens Noel. Let's go. Let's go. We going to the playoffs. Maybe the next Phoenix. It's not that, right? You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, that guy that's out there. You got guys, and I'm going down the list here. You got guys like a Norman Powell. I like Norman Powell, who could be that type of guy. Spencer Dinwiddie has that type of mentality. He's not that type of defender, so to speak, but he's got that dog type mentality. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That's the type of guy that you're looking for. But this free agent class isn't that strong, right? It's not that strong. So now when you talk about bringing in a guy like that, Montrezl Harrell, that's another guy I just came across. He's a guy that
he has to
break money out.
He has to opt out, though.
True.
Right?
Very true.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's not a lot of guys like that.
I do love the Montrezl Harrell idea, by the way.
Yeah, I like that too.
It.
I like that too. I'd overpay a little bit for Montrezl Harrell. And Montrezl Harrell has warts. Like, he's not by any means like what Kings fans see when they play Montrezl Harrell, because he's an all-star when he plays them. Mm-hmm. He's not that on a night-to-night basis. So, you're not gonna, like, there were things that the times when the Lakers just couldn't play him out there, because of some of his deficiencies on the defensive end as far as guarding pick and roll and stuff like that. So he's got holes, but he's the type of guy I feel that would police that locker room and would bring it out there on the floor. I like Montrez.
Okay. I like that idea. I like that idea a lot. WNBA All-Star game tonight. If you want to get in on the phone lines, by the way, like Steph did, he's cooking with grease, 916-349-1320. You can take part in the conversation on Twitch and YouTube as well. James Ham joining us coming up at 3:20. WNBA All-Star game tonight will be the WNBA All-Stars against Team USA before Team USA heads off to Tokyo. Candace Parker, cover of NBA 2K, as those covers were released today. Another note, the Olympic process is going to look a little bit different this year. There's not going to be a person to put the medal around your neck.
Okay.
They're going to have a person come out with a tray with sanitized gloves on, and I assume a mask and all of that. Yeah. And the athletes will then take the medals off of the tray and put it around their own neck.
Okay.
If there's a disputed finish, does someone snatch the gold medal who didn't actually win it and put it around their neck?
That would be interesting.
That's must-see TV right there.
That would be.
Tell me what time that's happening, even if it's for fencing or like one of those 1 a.m. sports. Tell me what that is. I'm in. Yeah, I'll be on Kenny Caraway time if you tell me, yo, you gotta see what happens during the fencing medal ceremony.
Do you have you talked about fencing? Do you have like a weird Olympic sport that you like to watch?
No, I'm basic. I'm basic when it comes. I do like gymnastics, which is, I do enjoy that. Love track, and I'm stopping short of saying I like Katie Ledecky. Like, as long as there's someone there I can watch for, like we spent so many of the last 4 or 5 Olympics, watching Michael Phelps. You know what I mean? So there's always there's someone to gravitate to. As long as there's something to like dive into, I'm in. But I'm pretty basic when it comes to the Olympics. I love track. I like gymnastics and swimming too.
What happened that one year? The swimmer said he got jumped at the gas station.
Was that the Olympics? That was what's his name? It was the American, but I forgot his name.
And did he make it up? Did he lie?
It turns out he did. It turns out he did. Yeah, he made it up. Ryan Lochte. That's exactly who it was. Yep, Ryan Lochte. That's exactly who it was.
Said he got jumped at the gas station. Took his medal.
Oh, Ryan.
Rio Olympics. Jill says it was the Rio, not Brazil. That's right.
Isn't Rio? Isn't that in Brazil?
No, I'm saying that was the name of the Olympics. They didn't call it the Brazil. They called it.
Oh.
Well, maybe they did call it the Brazil Olympics. I thought they called it the Rio. I think they called
it the Rio Olympics. No, yeah. I knew what you meant. You're still right. I know what you meant. Ryan Lochte. Do you have one?
No, I don't. I'm not going to set my clock to it, and I don't think I'm going to like it. I kind of like the diving. You know what I'm saying? That's pretty impressive to me.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
But I'm not locked into it, so I don't know if you can classify it as that. I'm basic as well. Gymnastics, basketball, track and field and basketball being 1 and 1A. I'm interested. I know I've ragged on it being in the Olympics. I said it yesterday. I really am interested in 3-on-3.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be like watching that.
It's a different game. It's a completely different game. Yeah. It's faster.
They play it crazy.
It's just different.
They play it crazy. No, take it out up top. Score a bucket. You better be ready to play defense.
You better.
What? I'm celebrating right now. What?
No, ain't none of that. Ain't none of that in this one. Speaking of not 3-on-3, but basketball, the men won yesterday. Team USA got the dub, beat up Argentina. So we're good. Like everybody good? No panic. We're fine. Best in the world.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and doesn't change. It doesn't change for me. They're still favored to win gold.
Yeah, we weren't panicking to begin with. We still had this team winning gold, and I thought they might lose some pool games until I saw who was in their pool. And now, nope, they're not
winning that pool.
No, they're undefeated. They might Angola that pool. Like they may very well get 40, 50, 60, 70 point victories.
Yeah.
Angola, I think, was 90. I remember watching the Angola game thinking, are they going to win this game by 100?
I think they were trying.
I think that's the only thing. I think that's the only thing they tried to do the entire time.
Yeah.
It's funny when you go back and you watch the highlights, and was it Croatia, Lithuania? They were so happy, like they were just so happy to finish like second and third. Because it was like that's essentially, once the team was announced, it was like that's what we're playing for.
Right.
We're playing for second and third, and so when you saw it, it was like in second you have to lose. You lose a game to get second, but to get third, you actually had to win something.
Right.
And they're out there celebrating like they're on that third. They're on that podium.
That was Lithuania who was third, right?
I think so. Yeah, they had the Grateful Dead tie dye.
Yeah. Yeah,
that's what I remember the most about them is they had the tie dye. That was fun, man. That 92 squad was fun. Have they ever released the video in its entirety of that practice, that legendary practice? Just the clips of it.
Just the clips. Everybody's confirmed it though.
Oh no, I know. I mean, it's clear that it's happened. It's been covered enough to know that it's happened. But there's also video of it.
Mm-hmm.
What are we waiting for? Upgrade it to HD or 4K or whatever. And dude, we just came out of it. We couldn't leave our house for how many months? You could have upgraded the quality of that practice and thrown it out there on ESPN, and everybody would have watched. You could have put that on ABC. You might have had to edit it. I think the problem is the vocal nature of the practice.
That could be an issue.
I think
speaking of, kind of, did you see the next, what's the 4-part 30 for 30 coming out? The 86 New York Mets. Some wild boys right there. I'm tapped into that one.
Is that Doc,
Darryl, Keith Hernandez, Gary Carter.
Dear. Oh boy.
Lenny Dykstra, some wild boys. Now, do they need 4 parts? I don't know if they need 4 parts. It's a little bit of a stretch, but there's some wild boys. Definitely want to check that out. But here's the thing that always frustrates me is they play this commercial and I'm like, yo, I want to see it. I know why they do it, but they're like, yeah, what was it called? A Time in Queens or something like that. Coming September 14th. What? Why do I have to wait 2 months for this? This should be a 2-week build-up max, and then I should be able to see this in 2 weeks.
I wonder what the hype would have been for The Last Dance if it had not been rushed. Because remember, it was like a year away.
Yes, it was a year and a half where they dropped the thing. And I'm like, I see the commercial. I'm like, let's go. I can't wait. What is this? A month? A month from now? Yeah, at the time, it was like 2019. They were like 2021. What?
Well, Space Jam 2 is what, like a decade?
Oh, well, they can never finalize that. There was always talks about doing it. But when they actually did it. Plus, that's a movie. That's different. Like, you got to shoot a movie.
Okay.
You should be able to make a documentary. And, well, that's the other thing about it. Well, I guess not with The Last Dance. I was about to say the documentary's already made. They're just sitting there. But I think he said that he was finishing it as it was being shown.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, so. They were rushing through episode after episode after episode. They weren't all done.
Yeah.
I think when they started airing, a certain number of the hours were done, but they were still. And was it Stockton? Maybe I feel like it was John Stockton. John Stockton was the very last interview that they did, and it was the day before like everything shut down. They got that interview was done, and that was the last one that they did, and they put everything together. So that was March. Everything shut down in March, and it aired in
June.
What, June?
Yeah.
Man, that's pretty tremendous work.
It is.
That's great work. They did it. It's Jason here. They did a amazing job. Jason does that. He did the Andre the Giant HBO doc as well. I mean, he's done a million of them, but
most notably here, he did the one that we will never see,
and that's fine. I don't give a damn about that documentary. I really don't.
I want to see it.
I do not give a crap about that documentary. I never need to see it. I'm sure people will jump in the chat saying, I saw it. Good for y'all. Like, I do not care about that documentary whatsoever. The only thing I'm curious about, is it like real, or do they tell the fake story? Do they tell the real? And my feeling is the reason they're not showing it is because they actually do tell the real story. And the real story, especially given at the time they pulled it, probably not something or at least the figure of that story is not someone you want to romanticize. But I know that documentary or 30 for 30 or whatever means a lot to people here. So hopefully some of y'all get to see it. I'm confident it'll be something that I'll never watch. We'll step out. We'll come back. We haven't talked about the All-Star game last night. Major League Baseball did a hell of a job. We'll dive into that. A couple of on this dates as well. And by the way, the finals resume tonight. Game 4 of the NBA Finals. James Ham joins us. We got a lot more ahead as D'Lo and Casey continue on Sacramento's #1 sports station, ESPN 1320.
House show.
Nope. House show has been canceled due to unforeseen circumstances. Normally we don't do this, but we're both going to dip for a second, so nobody go anywhere. Kenny will definitely be back. Hopefully both of us will be back.
Oh my gosh. We trade for Simmons. Whew. That would be nuts. So Okay.
I'm back in. Man, where
How you
the hell
switch
is the
those things?
camera? I don't even know where the camera's at. Can y'all on the stream even hear me? Can y'all just confirm that you can hear me?
How you switch the things?
What things?
What side you're on?
Oh, just like move it over. Just drag it over. Yeah. James Ham coming up here in about 30 minutes or so. He'll be with us at 3:20 over here on the live stream. Anxious to talk to him. I'm sure he's going to have plenty to say here. You're
crystal clear on this live stream right now, like crystal clear.
Yeah, well, I'm
damn good camera you got there.
You know what I'm operating off of? I'm actually, for those that are watching, we had to make a frantic switch. I have this. I don't know what the hell is going on with my MacBook, but like when I have everything connected, like all of the monitors, the Rodecaster, when everything's connected, it doesn't charge. So I just disconnected everything. It's plugged in just like it was during the show, and now it's charging. So I don't know what the issue is. I'll try to figure out. This is what happened yesterday. For those who were with us in the 3 o'clock hour, it just kind of died. So I think I was able to get everything plugged in to my iPad. So I'm running everything off of my iPad right now. That's
all them people that was talking crazy about Apple products and all this other stuff. You should see this man on the iPad right now, crystal clear. Stop.
I do look pretty good, man. I can't front. It look nice. I mean, it's a hassle. It's a hassle because I just went from working with 3 screens down to 1, and the only thing that's on my screen is your beautiful face.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
And you are in 4K here on the stream as well.
You know, we are connected over here. You know what I'm saying? It's straight in, straight to the modem. You know what it is.
I'm hard connected over here too, but that's all right. I got the good folks of Xfinity coming out on Saturday. They were going to come out yesterday. I was like, yeah, the last thing we need is y'all to unplug something and us have a mishap. Like I've had enough mishaps on the day. I don't need any more. I've had enough mishaps this week. I don't need any more. So we'll see y'all this weekend.
It's just getting settled in, and then boom, it's about to take off.
I didn't realize how big of an operation D'Lo and Casey are. Like, dude, I've got so many devices like plugged in and so many different things to communicate with Jesse, communicate with Danny in San Francisco. Of course, the stream is such a huge part of what we do, and our notes and the show rundown and all of that different stuff. Like, I didn't realize how big of an operation it was until I unpacked it. or until I packed it up. I was like, damn, man, I got all this stuff here for the show, but it's worth it because y'all. Yeah,
it's absolutely worth it. I've had to take down and put everything up a couple times myself, and I'm like, oh, bruh.
The streets,
a lot.
The streets said you about to do that again. That's what the streets are saying.
Nah. Well, I mean, when I move the setup. That's going to be the new home of the setup.
The KC portion of the D'Lo and KC studio is about to change.
Yeah. When I move the home location for that's going to be his home for a little bit. Okay. Just got to figure a couple things out.
Okay, I'm with it, man. I'm excited. Good stuff ahead. I thought the All-Star game was fantastic last night. There are some legitimate stars in Major League Baseball. The sport, in terms of its overall popularity, shouldn't be in the place that it's in. It should be in a significantly better place because there are so many good stars in the game right now. Mm-hmm. And the fact that who's the face of baseball? Who's the guy who could do this? Who's the guy who could do that? Just shows the mismanagement of everything that they're doing. It shows the mismanagement in terms of their marketing. Like they're like, baseball's on point. They've got stars, but they're just not marketed well.
No, I think it's a little bit of that, and a little bit of the way the game is played, and just the nature of baseball. It doesn't coincide with society today, right? Baseball is a process. It's a game that takes its time. It's an acquired taste, and that's just not how society is right now. And you mentioned the other day when we were talking about Ohtani, as exciting as he is, if you don't see his at bat when it happens, well, you got to wait another 45 minutes to see him again. You know what I'm saying? And that takes patience. Right. That takes dedication. Yeah. And the way society is right now, people don't always have that dedication. So there's things that they can do marketing wise that could help, develop the stars. But I think the issue is an inherent issue, right? Like just the way the game is played. And you can't change that really too much. You know what I mean?
You're using the term dedication when I feel like you could probably use the term patience.
Patience.
People just lack the patience to sit around for 45 minutes and wait for, their favorite, hitter to get back to the plate.
Which I got to be honest with you, maybe it is more on the marketing side as well, though, because I don't look at soccer as being this super fast-paced game all the time. Like there's a lot of dead spots in the soccer game. There's a lot of times when Messi or Ronaldo aren't, the focal point of what's going on. But that's growing, and in the States, people are, grabbing a hold of soccer. So I don't know. Maybe it is more on the marketing side. I just feel like baseball, there's a level of patience, like you talked about, that you have to fully grasp and appreciate what you're watching. And I don't know if people always have that.
Speaking of patience, Rob Manfred appears to have run out of them with 7-inning doubleheaders and runners on second bases to start extra innings. He said both of those are likely to go away next year. So we're back to 9-inning doubleheaders, and we're back to, I assume, regular extra innings. He did say they're still looking for a way to speed up the game. I don't think that's the issue. I don't think the length of the game is the issue. I think the pace of the game is the issue. They're not the same thing. The length of the game, the pace of the game isn't the same.
Yeah. And that's a good point. It's just really dead a lot of times. And I don't know if this can be replicated for 162 games or just not in a tournament format. But I always point back to the World Baseball Classic and the games and the atmosphere and the energy for those games in Miami. When you have the Caribbean teams, when you have the Puerto Rican and Dominican and Cuba, and how those fans, the atmosphere in that place is just crazy. And it keeps you engaged and watching that game all through the 9 innings. And like I said, maybe it's just a situation where that's just a tournament type feel, and that's the way they can get that. But those games are just as long, but you don't feel that way because it's a happening. You want to talk about a movie, man, look at some of these clips from, some of the games in Miami during the World Baseball Classic, movie-esque in a major way. And if you could get that type of environment every game, I don't think you'd have a problem. But for whatever reason, that's not really how things go.
I don't hate the runner on second. I know some people do. I guess baseball purists do. I don't know. I don't hate that rule at all.
I don't hate it either. I don't hate it. It's fine. It's fine. It doesn't. I could take both situations. You know what I'm saying? I'm probably classified as a purist. I like, hey, let's just play this thing out until we get it right. And runner at second, it makes sense to me. Speed that game along. Get that done within the next 20, 30 minutes of going into extra innings. I get it.
Is it just tradition?
It's got a lot to do with it.
One thing I get why you did 7-inning doubleheaders, and I'm actually not against it. The one thing I don't like about it, and why I'm fine with them doing away with all of these rules. Like, I'm not invested enough to care that much. I did like the runner on second base rule. I thought it was interesting. I thought it created a certain level of strategy to it, perhaps more so than it would be if the bases were cleared. But I don't like the 7-inning thing only because of, for lack of a I think it's probably the perfect example is the Madison Bumgarner example.
Mm-hmm.
The man threw 7 and he threw 7 hitless innings. He didn't have the opportunity to throw inning number 8 and inning number 9. So he technically in the history books, because of the way this is all written, doesn't have a no-hitter. Mm-hmm. And it also, you play 100 and, what was it, 164 games, 165 games, whatever it is. And how many of them wind up being these double headers where you're playing 7 innings? Well, now you're starting to affect home run totals, RBI totals, batting average. You're starting to affect a lot of different things by the game being shortened.
Right.
So if you're a 9-inning game, be a 9-inning game. So that's one thing that I do like about them apparently going back.
Yeah, I get it. I feel, man, if they get the extra inning thing, I think that really helps with what they talk about with the pace, with the excitement, of an extra inning game. I think it really helps. I don't know if they should get rid of that. But I think, Manfred is really trying to get back to the purity of the purest Major League Baseball era.
That's very much what it sounds like. You're listening to D-Lo and KC on ESPN 1320, KIFM, West Sacramento, KRXQ, HD2 Sacramento, an Odyssey station and driven by Lashers, Elk Grove Dodge. James Ham coming up in 20 minutes. Your opportunity to win $1,000 coming up in 10 minutes, and your opportunity to join the show right now, 916-349-1320. Let's go to Ramsey. Ramsey, what's good, baby?
Ramsey. Yeah, real talk.
Yeah,
real talk.
And Vlad put himself on a big stage by getting MVP and hitting the 470-foot home run that he hit last night on his way to winning MVP. Mm-hmm. And all the stars that everybody was looking for, they had a chance to see him on the stage, and they had a chance to potentially capitalize. And Vlad capitalized, I believe, more than anybody did.
Man, that was a bomb. That was a bomb that Vlad hit to extend the lead for the American League. And so, yeah, you're right. I mean, these guys got to do it. They're a younger group of kids, so I think they understand the dynamics of the social media, having fun with being Major League Baseball players and all this other stuff. I think they've got a little bit more control to market themselves and make themselves stars than maybe some of the guys like the Mike Trouts and the Bryce Harpers, a short generation before them.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. 916-349-1320. I think we got Manny too. Manny, what's good, baby?
Manny.
Hey, what's up? I grew up playing. My first sport I ever played was baseball. We were just playing in the neighborhood, and I don't think you're ever going to change the length of the game like you said, because it's always just going to be a long game no matter what. But I think some of the stuff that kept them out of touch is like these old rules where, like, like the Ken Griffey with the half backward, where people started, the old school people hated it, and then with the flipping of the fast, and like that's how us as Latinos grew up. Like, there wasn't money in these countries to play anything. You played with sticks. You found a way to make a glove. There's a lot of these Latin countries. This is how they get out of poverty, is by trying to make it playing baseball. And so if there's a love, there's a passion for it that's so far more advanced than in America as far as that passion. But when you get here, I think like a lot of these unlimited contracts where these guys are making 500, 600 million, it just seems to keep going up every year. That part of it turned off some fans, and it's hard to pinpoint it on one thing, but there's just so many little things that I think have contributed to the decline of baseball. We're like, if my team isn't in it, if my Cubs aren't in it, I'm going to go watch a YMCA basketball game before I go watch a random baseball game. Like, I have that much love more for basketball, where I'll go play anywhere, go see it anywhere. It's just, I don't know. I don't know what it totally encompasses, but I think it's just a lot of little things.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's been a lot, like Manny said, a lot of different things that have contributed to the downfall of Major League Baseball as far as popularity in this country. But while I understand that, and I'm with Manny, I'm watching the basketball tournament and Big Three and all this other stuff, I still love me some baseball, man.
Yeah.
I still love me some baseball, and especially this time of year, summertime, not much going on. You got games on. Hell yeah, I'm gonna check them out, man. I love baseball.
916-349-1320. We got Dalton too, man. Y'all feeling baseball today, Dalton? What's happening?
Hey, what's going on? Long time no talk, man.
Great to
Man,
hear.
appreciate you, Dalton.
So I hate this doubleheader 7-inning crap. I hate tie games. I hate all this stuff in sports they do wrong, right? And just like you guys were talking about, the RBIs, the home runs, the Bumgarner not getting the no-hitter, all this. Why not make it one long 18-inning game? Count it for 2.
That's a long time to play baseball. That's a long time to play baseball, man. That's a long day. A long day.
We go to tie game after 2 overtimes. Why don't we do like a kickoff? Put both the kickers on the 30, then the 35, then the 40. You know?
Wait a minute, Dalton. Are you trying to solve all sports problems?
Yes, I hate all these sports problems. Double headers, tie games. Look at basketball games. You don't see that. You don't see there are certain sports that finish games because there are reasons to finish games.
Oh, well, we're only talking about football and soccer, I guess, because baseball finishes games.
You know, like these double headers, they're like Bumgarner deserves that no hitter. I'm a Giants fan, huge Giants fan. Sucks he didn't do it there, but he deserves that one because that was the game he played that day.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you at all, Dalton. We appreciate you, man. Thanks for the call.
Appreciate you, Dalton.
Go one at it. I don't know how to. I'm not trying to pick all of the different things he brought up there. The ties, the tie is pretty lame. Like ties in football are lame.
Ties are trash.
Yeah, it's a bad look. I hate the 18-inning game. That's a lot. I don't. Why are there double headers? Like if you have to play 2 games in a day, shorten the freaking schedule. I don't like. I don't get the what's the purpose of a doubleheader? Like, why do they do it?
Well, nowadays, I think last year they were trying to get games in, so that's why they brought back the doubleheader. They never, but they never do. I mean, this is the greed of the owners. They stopped doing scheduled doubleheaders long ago. Now they do doubleheaders because a lot of times it's a travel thing. So if the Giants are playing the Nationals, they only go to the East Coast twice. And if they play the Nationals on their second trip to the East Coast, they're not going back to the East Coast for one game because they're not going to make the trip back out to the East Coast. So that's why these doubleheaders go down in baseball. But a long time ago, it was let's play 2. You know what I mean? Let's get a game in, 2 games in one day. You know, that'll give them an extra day of rest later on the schedule. And I like the doubleheaders. Doubleheaders are all good. Day-night doubleheader is where it's at. Right, you got the 1 o'clock game. It's done by 4. You got the 7 o'clock start for the next doubleheader. That's a good thing.
Okay, not my bag, but cool. Like, hey, if y'all like it, I love it. I know there's value in daytime baseball though, because I feel like baseball is very much a. It's a big deal. It's a spectator game, so I get being there in the day with the sun shining down on you and all that. Like that's cool. But point being, Major League Baseball did a great job last night, at least in my estimation.
They did. I didn't like the uniforms though. That's this discussion with the Queen Bee, and it was an opportunity to do something different, to sell, different jerseys and things of that nature. But and this is where I am old school. Give me my team jerseys, home and away. The home team, National League in this case, they got their white uniforms on from the home team. The American League has their gray. Let me see the different hats and the different colors and all that other stuff. That's just an old school quirk of mine, though.
Okay, I'm with it. Where the attention will shift from baseball back to the National Basketball Association. Game 4 of the NBA Finals tonight. The Bucks got on the board in Game 3 in pretty strong fashion with a big win, a blowout win against the Phoenix Suns. And now here we are. Win. Second game in Milwaukee and an opportunity to make this a series or potentially, figuratively put it to bed.
It's a big game right here, man. I think there's a part of me that wants to say if the Bucks can get this one, I think they'll win the series. There's a part of I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to go on a limb. I'm not going to go on a limb.
I want to beat you up for that because you're just flying all over the place with your thoughts on this series. But it's exactly what they did to Brooklyn.
Yeah.
They were down 2-0 against Brooklyn and 1-2. And obviously, they went on to win the series.
It's like, obviously, if the Suns go up 3-1, I think that's too much for Milwaukee to come back from. Mm-hmm. But I thought Milwaukee was going to win the series before the series started. I thought they were better than the Suns. So it's not inconceivable to think that no matter what happens tonight, that they could win this series.
No, it's not. Not at all.
Yeah, because I don't look at Phoenix as if Phoenix is good and they're playing really good basketball. I don't look at them as some kind of world beaters. I don't look at them as somebody that can't struggle from time to time. Mm-hmm. And once again, if you can get this win tonight, if you're Milwaukee, now it's a best of 3 series. Mm-hmm. First one to win 2. All you got to do is win 2. And that encompasses winning 1 in Phoenix, not winning 2 or nothing like just win 1 in Phoenix. You take care of business at home. Even if they went down 3-1, Phoenix isn't, I would be shocked if they lost a 3-1 lead, but Phoenix this ain't one of the greatest teams of all time where they can't lose 3 games in a row. I don't see that. So it's a big game tonight, man. Big game for Milwaukee.
Another superhero performance from Giannis necessary for them to win. I mean, I thought Drew Holiday did a good job the other night. Obviously, Drew Holiday did a great job the other night. We're going to need that game 1 performance from Chris Middleton again. Or, perhaps Giannis said, I'm not Michael Jordan, but perhaps he'll put up Michael Jordan-like numbers here if he's able to get another 40-point game in a row. It really shouldn't be lost, no matter what happens in this series, what Giannis Antetokounmpo has done, especially given that injury we saw that happened, what was it, less than a week before the NBA Finals started. It's time for the Summer of Cash contest. Your chance to win $1,000 is right now. All you have to do is text the word POST to 72881. That's POST.
I got this one. Get Giannis in the post, Coach Bud.
Text POST to 72881. This is a multi-state contest. Message and data rates apply. And remember, don't text and drive. I think we got Mike here ready to talk. Mike, what's good, baby? 916-349-1320. What's up, Mike?
Oh, hi. I'm a first-time caller. I love your show.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate you.
Oh, yeah. I listen every day. Anyway, I was calling to talk about the baseball. And I think the game can move faster and be shorter with some rule changes. I used to be what you call a purist in baseball way back in the day. And I really thought it was a bad idea to add wild card games. Mm-hmm. But adding those wild card games really changed my mind because I think it really improved the game. So I think it really, if they made a few rule changes or like on the field changes like strikeouts, they take a long time.
What would you do with them?
So I think back maybe 10 feet because every strikeout takes at least 3 pitches, right? So,
okay, yeah, Jesse gave him the hook. Jesse gave him the hook straight. For Mike, appreciate the kind words. Appreciate you listening and appreciate the call. That's Jesse. Send your hate mail to Jesse at ESPN1320.com. But I guess when we've gotten to the point of saying strikeouts take too long, maybe there are some other.
Look, maybe this just ain't the game for you. Okay, we don't have to change it that drastically. Maybe this just ain't the game for you when strikeouts are taking too long.
3 pitches. Jeez almighty. What's next? Oh, gosh. I can't do it. I'm going to watch Spike Ball. Spike Ball looks like a really fast-paced game. Like, if you can't take a strikeout taking too long. I was kind of curious where he was going with that. I can't lie. Yeah. Strikeouts take too long. I was thinking, like, is he talking – like, because one thing I don't understand, why do you throw the ball around after a strikeout?
I don't know.
What's the purpose of that?
I don't know.
Hey, look what we did, guys. We're going over to third, second, first. Like, that's like a.
Make sure everybody's alert. Make sure everybody's alert. Hey, here we go. Hey.
That's dumb.
See, the thing about it though is maybe they start like softball, so adult softball, like rec league softball. Start with the count 1-1.
Okay, dude. All right.
I made my return on Friday, by the way.
You what?
I made my return back to the field on Friday after about 2.5 months off. I was back.
Well, James Ham makes his return here to D'Lo and Casey. He's been gone for a whole 7 days. He joins us next here on Sacramento's #1 sports station, ESPN 1320. Jesse was like, nah, nope. Like he's a bartender. He's had enough. Cut him off. Cut him off. All right, let's see if I can get connected here.
Here comes the money.
Where are we at? So I'm plugged in. What are we at? 22%. That's probably a little too close. Give me a second, guys.
Okay.
Oh, actually, you'll still be able to see me. What am I talking about? Let's go. What's happening? Go. Boom. What happens there? No screen. No screen. No screen. Nothing. Gotta. Hang on. I want to try to be set up when James joins us.
Hey, James Ham in the house. Do I need to switch everything?
Yes.
Okay.
You are in charge of that.
So
no. Oh, sorry. I'll do it. I'll do it just to be safe.
All right. Bring James in. Hold on 1 second. James, let me get you.
James.
In here, right? Where we at?
So we're charging.
There we go. There we go.
Plug that in.
No, not that. No.
We are, come on, baby. Charge.
James, what's going on, man?
What's happening, gentlemen?
Uh-oh. I can't hear. Oh, let me, wait. Why can't I hear James?
Oh, no, it's not me.
It's
not me. It's you.
Did you pot him up? You got to pot him up.
Oh, there we go.
Got me?
Now, there we go. Yeah.
We're having some. Oh, that's me. Hang on. We're having some technical. Why do I still hear myself? Oh, I know why. No, I don't.
Little mix minor. Oof.
All right.
I need to start doing yoga. I think I'm going to start that up tomorrow. I'm just too stiff. I think Coach Molly said, yeah, yoga is a great thing to do right now. I think I'll start that up. Oh.
I can't do the yoga.
Can't do the yoga?
No, I can't. My back is too
bad.
bad.
Yeah, that's right. You got a bad back.
Can y'all on the stream hear me? Can you hear me, Casey?
I can hear you.
Oh, okay.
I thought it was Mitch at first, saying he was Mike.
Yeah, for real. Wow, this is so weird. Just a heads up, Jesse. I can't.
He said Mike called back like, hey, I got disconnected. Jesse was like, no, I cut you off.
That's great. What's going on, James?
What's happening, gentlemen?
Ain't nothing, man.
Another day, middle of the summer.
Yeah, I'm just prepping for what is to come.
Coming back, you said, Jesse?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on 1 second, guys. I was wondering if my partner could hear me like he normally could, but he doesn't seem to be able to hear me.
I can hear you.
Well, you can hear me.
I can hear Jesse too.
You can hear like the music and all that.
I heard everything. I was just gonna let you have your moment.
Okay, well, we back here on D-Lo and KC. With your man Kenny Caraway, Damian Barling in the house, and
you're like a child. Just coming back from commercial, you're like a giant child.
And now, as we are blessed every Wednesday to be blessed with the presence of our guy, James Ham, Sacramento Kings insider from NBC Sports. James, what's up, man?
What's going on, gentlemen? What's happening?
Good. Another day, like we said, another July summer day. Yesterday, I think they reached like 89 degrees or 90 degrees or something like that. And I went outside at about 5 o'clock, and I was like, feels good out here. Feels cool. That's how hot it's been lately, where I went out at like 90 and I was like, it feels good. Might have to turn the air off.
Yeah, and I'm like bleached white. Like, so I look at like a closed window and I'm like, oh, I can't walk past that. I'll get the sunburn. So yeah, I got two shades. I've got white and pink that I turned. So yeah, these are days where I have to stay inside and avoid the bright sunshine and the heat. I just, it's so hot.
Yeah.
Poor James can't walk through a bright window. That's just awful. That's just awful. So there's rumors out there. There's stuff to talk about. Kings, Sixers, you and I, the three of us, we've been talking about Ben Simmons quite a bit over the course of the last couple of weeks. What did you think of 3 first-round picks as part of a potential conversation for Ben Simmons?
Yeah, that's a lot. It just depends on what else I'm giving up besides the 3 first-round picks. Look, at some point you have to look at the Kings and say, you got to try something, right? And we can go back in the history of the game, and there's been plenty of times where, what was it? Chris Webber for Penny Hardaway, and they gave up 3 first-round picks in that swap, for the Orlando Magic to move to number 1 to get for the Magic to trade out of number 1 with the Golden State Warriors. So we've seen it there again. Then they traded Chris Webber for a bunch of first-round picks. We've seen that in the past, but that just seems like a really steep price. I think that there's a possibility that you give up 2 first-round picks. But again, you have to look at that Philadelphia 76ers team and say, what do they really need? And how do I tie this thing together? And we talked about it once before, it's not going to be the deal that you keep seeing out there, Buddy Hield and Marvin Bagley, most likely, and a stack of first-round picks because, we talked about this, Dave Yeager's there. Do you think Dave Yeager's going to sign off on that deal as an assistant coach? Is he going to just go, yeah, that sounds right. I'll take those guys. They're my guys. Or is he going to go, man, I'm not sure if that's a great move. Those are 2 guys that played a role in him not being in Sacramento anymore. So you've got that. And then, if I'm the 76ers, I certainly would love to have Harrison Barnes. I think he works perfectly with that roster. At the same time, how many first-round picks? I'm not giving up Harrison Barnes and as many first-round picks as I would give up if I was throwing Buddy Hield in that deal and multiple first-round picks. So I think that there's, to quote the legendary NBA commissioner David Stern, life is a negotiation. And I think we're in the middle of what could be a very interesting 2-week stretch if you're a part of the Sacramento Kings or if you're a fan of the Sacramento Kings.
Another thing that came out with this whole Ben Simmons rumors and reports on the rumors and everything is it seemed like maybe Philadelphia, if you believe everything that you read, was angling for De'Aaron Fox, and the Kings reportedly Fox isn't on the table. Now, we watch wrestling here. We talk about it all the time. Everybody has a price for the $1 million man, right? If LeBron James or, I don't know, maybe Luka or whatever, there's like 10 guys, maybe even more, that you would say, if you were the Kings, okay, we'll make that deal. But realistically, is De'Aaron Fox about as close as you get to untouchable with the Sacramento Kings right now?
Yeah, I don't even know if there's 10 guys. If you're the Kings, because you have to look at the age. You know, that's always going to be the huge factor here. Because if you just go make a move, it's, you know, could De'Aaron be part of a package to Portland for, you know, Damian Lillard? Just spitballing here. I don't think that would ever happen. But like, you know, but are you going to take on like a 30 or 31-year-old Damian Lillard or whatever he is at this point? That just doesn't make any sense. You don't have the team around him to instantly be a playoff team. And look, we're going to make the playoffs for 2 seasons, and then like, and you can't even guarantee that. Right. So look, I think that there is a small group of players, but it's a small group. I mean, you would want to trade him if you were ever going to consider trading him. And as of right now, I don't think the Kings are. Like I've heard that, you know, rumors, rumblings behind the scenes that was the asking price when they, you know, the Kings threw out one deal and they came back with De'Aaron Fox, and then, you know, that was the end of that discussion. And that doesn't mean that was the end of all discussions, but that was the end of that specific discussion. So I think we're going to have to wait and see here is like, look, your house is only worth what someone is going to pay for it, right? You can think you have a $5 million house, but if no one is willing to pay more than 2, then I hate to tell you, you got a $2 million house. So like Ben Simmons, they can want an all-star farm all they want, but you know, there's only 24 all-stars, like, and he's one of them, and you got another one of them, and maybe even 2. So like, how many all-stars are there, and how many are going to be traded straight up for Ben Simmons? And the answer is probably none. Like if someone has an all-star player, the chance of them trading him for Ben Simmons is very slim. So where do we go from there? You know, and I don't know. We see so much conjecture and so much stuff thrown out here. The whole Malcolm Brogdon and a first-round pick from Indiana. Well, that's just a rumor someone threw out there. That could just be 76ers saying, hey, this is something that we wouldn't mind, or we turned down this, and it can just be gamesmanship. We have no idea. So you know what I mean? It's one of those things where that could just be them saying, look, we wouldn't take this deal. You got to do better than that. And now again, like that's fine, but your number 9 pick in the draft is only worth what you can sell it for. You know, the same thing with the Golden State Warriors, 7 and 14. Those are fine, but you're not getting anything near what top 4 pick is going to get in this year's draft for those 2 picks, even if you combine them. So yeah, it's a difficult world that we're living in here for some of these teams. And I think reality checks come, you know, right at the draft and right at the trade deadline every year for teams where they're like, okay, we thought he was worth more, and now we realize he's not.
Yeah.
Why are opinions so split on Ben Simmons? It's like we're all seeing the same thing, and we think he's either great or he's trash. There's like no in between.
Yeah, I mean, if you have to be realistic when you deal with any player, right? Like I've told you guys about.
This is sports. We've got to be completely unrealistic, James.
I guess you're right. You're right. So like we talk about Bagley all the time, and I keep telling you guys, like, do I think he's going to be here? Probably not. But do I think that he's still a good fit if you got him healthy and you got him right? I think he could be. I think he might still be a great natural fit. So like, there's always going to be that like. What is his value to you? And then what is his value to someone else? So now I hear myself talking back.
Yeah.
But that's okay. So my point is, like with Ben Simmons, like I'm not sure why it's so polarizing. He is a 3-time All-Star at 24 years old. He's a 2-time All-Defensive First Team, and he's 24 years old. I mean, we're talking about a guy who can play 5 positions on the floor without any problems. He can't score. He's not going to be a 20-point-a-game scorer probably ever in his career. doesn't mean he doesn't have tremendous value. I mean, there are guys that have done what, sort of the things that he can do, and he's better at them, like a guy like Andre Kirilenko. Kirilenko was extremely valuable for years for the Utah Jazz. Those are, you look at him and you're like, I don't get it. Like, is he a perfect fit for the Kings because he can't space the floor? Maybe not, but we talked about this a week or two ago. At the same time, De'Aaron Fox, Halliburton, Barnes, everybody shoots better off the catch and shoot 3-ball than they do off the dribble. Mm-hmm. So if you can have a secondary ball handler that has a super low usage rate with a super high assist rate, well, he creates open looks for other players. That's what you're looking for. So I think he works. Now, you might have to make some adjustments with some of the other positions or try different rotations of players. But for me, in a Kings uniform, like, I don't think you're going to get a better age, like to fit with your guys if you're able to keep both Halliburton and Fox in the trade. I just, like, there aren't a lot of players out there. I think, like John Collins, he'd be a great fit in Sacramento. The Kings defense would get worse, or it would be equally as bad.
That's not possible.
Yeah, I mean, it would be, but it would be close because, I mean, John Collins is not a great defensive player. He's not a god-awful defensive player, but he's also not, like, he's nowhere near what you're going to get from Ben Simmons. So, again, every player has a trade-off. A guy can shoot a 3, but he can't play defense. I might take the guy who plays defense if I have the worst defense in the NBA. So I get the chase. I get that the Kings are interested, and I get that the price is going to be high. But I don't think the price is going to be nearly as high as what we've seen some speculation on, or really as low as some people think it should be. But you're right. He's polarizing.
Now, check this out. I asked you about De'Aaron Fox and about is he as close as you can get to untouchable here in Sacramento? Got your answer on this one. What's your thoughts about Tyrese Halliburton? Because I get the vibes and I hear different things and I read different things that maybe he's not on, maybe there's levels to this whole thing, right? He's not on De'Aaron Fox's level of untouchable, but is he one step below? Is he one level below? Are they that high on Tyrese Halliburton?
Yeah, I think they're 1A and 1B. I mean, to be honest with you, like, they love Halliburton. And you have to remember too, like, we always talk about, well, what do they do with Bagley, Vlade? Monty doesn't have to worry about it really because he didn't draft him. Well, Monty didn't draft De'Aaron Fox. He drafted Halliburton. That's his guy that says it plants his flag and says, look, I can find talent. So I don't see you trading the guy that now you could, from the internals, like, look at him in a different way and say, okay, like, somehow this worked out in year 1, but we don't know that his ceiling is super high. So if I had an opportunity to move to, like, number 2 and I can add a guy like Mobley or Green and they're just like, they're can't miss stars and they fit what you need, then maybe you would consider something. But again, how much are you willing to give up? How good Halliburton was in his rookie season. You can compare him to other players in their rookie season. I've talked about him, like, comparing very closely to a guy like CJ McCollum. And then you go back and look at CJ McCollum's first year, I think he averaged 6 points. Second year, he averaged 8 points. Third year, he averaged 20 a game. Yeah. So Tyrese Halliburton came out and averaged 13 points a game in his rookie season. And he was on a team with a bunch of other scorers. It's not like he did that on a team that cannot score at all. On, Colin Sexton, you can probably wipe out 8 points a game off his average if you put him on a different team, maybe 6 points a game. He was just on a team that could not score at all, and he was relied on for all of the scoring. So, you're always going to have somebody who has to score on every team. But with Halliburton, like, you had, all of these other scorers. Marvin averages over 14 a game. Rashawn averages over 14 a game. Fox is at 25. You got Hield and Barnes, both over 16 points a game. So, to put up 13 points a game on a team that scores, that's really good. Yeah. So I think that the potential for him to be an 18 to 20 point a game, but also like a 6 to 7 assist and, a couple of rebounds, but almost 2 steals a game type of player. I mean, you're looking at fringe all-star right below all-star level as like your floor of what you think he's going to be. And then he could be better. So you just don't know.
Do you think Terrence Davis is a priority?
Yeah. again, we talked about what you're only worth what someone's going to pay you. Like this is always a sticky situation for me because I like Terrence Davis as a player. I watched him, really blossom last year once the Kings got him. But what I don't understand is why anyone would put it out there that they want $9 million a year for him. Like you can think that you compared to somebody else and then look at the off-court stuff and cut that, whatever it is you think he's worth, cut that in half. I mean, unfortunately, you're a guy who hasn't proven yourself in the league. Right. You're not a fourth-year guy who has shown a complete arc and everyone knows where you're going to be in 2 years, or you've already become who you're going to be. You're looking at a guy who looked really good in the last 10 games of the season, but the other 17 games in Sacramento was like, okay, so poor decision-making, out of control at times. Then he started to find his footing and he looked really good. So the thing is, first of all, you can't turn down a qualifying offer. I'm not quite sure what that, like terminology wise. A qualifying offer is basically something that a team has to extend to you. And that's all it does is secure their rights. Mm-hmm. So he had his qualifying offer of like $1.9 million. They'll likely extend the qualifying offer of $1.9 million between now and the deadline for them to do that. But then that qualifying offer is just a placeholder for a salary. So no one actually, very, very rarely does a player ever play for the actual qualifying offer. But like, he's not getting $9 million a year that I can tell. I think a team, could take a stab at him at a 2-year, $9 million deal. But if he got $9 million a year and you're the Kings, you go, babe, it cost us a 2nd round pick. We had him for 27 games. It was nice knowing you, good luck.
Yeah, we have this value.
Yeah, but we talked about this.
Money.
Yeah, it's the Ike Diagu thing, right? Like Ike Diagu, like everyone wanted to pay him like 3 years and $9 million when he dropped like 30 something points in the last 2 games of the season. And then he's basically out of the league. Like that's just not reality. What you see in the final 10 games of an NBA season, it's not reality, and nobody in the league pays for the final 10 games of the season. Right. You have to have a track record for success. And that's not to say that I don't think Terrence Davis has value. I think he does have value. I think the Kings like him a lot. And I think he fits what they're trying to do. And I think he's a Bobby Jackson type lightning rod off the bench that you could really help your team for the next, 5-6 years with him. But like, let's not be crazy here. Again, Rashawn Holmes, his people want a 4-year, $80 million contract. Like, okay, that's fine. If someone wants to pay that, that's fine. But if he eats up $20 million a year in cap space, you're going to perpetually be, that's not even death by mid-level exemption. That's death by $20 million a year contracts that you would be if you were the Kings. If you had 4 guys on your roster making more than $20 million and you're still only winning 36 games a year, that's just not feasible on any level. So like, I hope he gets whatever, but at the same time, there has to be some sort of reality. And if his reality is realized and his $5 million house is worth $5 million, then that's good. Good for you. You made your money. I just don't see that in Sacramento. That's going to be really, really hard to pay that much. And I love Rashawn Holmes. I think he's a perfect fit for this roster.
Right. Well, a little bit more on Terrence Davis. So like, if you say, he's looking for $9 million, cut that in half about what his real value is, $9 million a year, cut that in half. Is that in the realm of what the Kings are willing to spend to bring him back for $5 million a year over 2 or 3 years? Is that reasonable to them? Or is that, in your opinion, is that even a little too rich for what they want to do?
No, I think that's too rich. I think basically you're looking at biannual exception money. You're not looking at mid-level exception money. You're looking at the lower, the 3, like I could see a 3-year $9 million contract for him. Mm-hmm. Like, again, you're an undrafted player and is entering his 3rd season. You do not have rights to go out and sign somewhere else. You're stuck in the restricted free agent realm. Right. So I don't know what he'll get. And to be honest with you, just because, he could get, like, realistically, he could get no offers. Mm-hmm. Like, we saw Willie Cauley-Stein thinking he was going to go out and get paid. He wanted $20 million a year. and he ended up signing for league minimum with the Dallas Mavericks. We saw and didn't he sign first with the Golden State Warriors, right?
Yep.
And then we hear all these people like the last couple of years, the Kings are crazy for letting go of Harry Giles. He's worth at least $5 to $6 million a year. Signed a 1-year league minimum deal, and now he's going to be out looking for another contract. Like, there is no guarantee of anything in the league, and then we add in the off the court stuff, and so someone's got to not only be willing to take you on as a player and continue to groom a player that averages on his career 7 or 8 points a game, but on top of that we have to deal with the backlash, the bad publicity and all that stuff that comes with the off-court stuff, even if most of that is behind him.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think Buddy's tenure with Sacramento can still be salvaged? It feels like it's dead and we're moving on and all of these different things. But you look at him and he has a unique skill set. Do you think he could still fit here?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, sure. Like, I think he can. And to be honest with you, like, if you look at the different iterations of a trade that you could do to try to get Ben Simmons, like, I think having Buddy Hield on your roster with Ben Simmons might even make more sense than having Harrison Barnes on your roster with Ben Simmons, just because like Barnes can shoot the three, but it's the volume of threes that Buddy is capable of shooting. So while Buddy should be above 40%, and he knows that, and he got his 3-point percentage up close to that by the end of the year, the fact is that he's doing that on like 11 attempts a game, which is crazy talk. I mean, guys haven't ever averaged 11 attempts a game until this last like 5-year stretch. I mean, Buddy Hield's like the all-time leader for the first 5 years of his career in 3-point makes, and it's not even close at this point. He's shot and made so many 3-pointers. So yeah, I think that there is a way to have Buddy still be on this team. I mean, he's got 3 years and $60-something million left on his contract. So, I mean, there could be a way, there's a possibility that you cannot move him, or that you're getting such little in return that you don't want to move him. So, I think there is a way that, again, you could see a weird lineup, like if they were to make a move for a guy like Simmons, where you had Fox, Halliburton, Simmons, Hield, and then whoever your center is, all in the same lineup. It's just, it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be the most simple thing to do, just because that's a lot of contract that you're taking in. And that's, you've got to figure out at some point, you can't have Harrison Barnes and Buddy Hield on the same roster just because of the volume of the money that they make. Unless, again, you're just going to take the long, slow death of, like, again, the mid-level exemption times 2, which would be brutal for everyone watching, because I don't think you're going to win if you just keep stacking on $20 million a year contracts for non-all-star level players.
Yeah. James, we're trying to make some plans here. All right. We're trying to plan our draft day experience and see what we can do. I think about this all the time, trading the pick and all this other stuff. Is it safe to say, I know anything can happen here, but is it safe to say nothing is probably going to happen before draft day? Like, if they move that pick, do you see them like exhausting every option before draft day? Like, I don't expect to hear Kings trade number 9 pick next week is kind of what I'm getting out of.
No, I think, yeah, you're right. It will happen on draft day or the day before. I mean, that's the way this whole situation works, right? Mm-hmm. Everyone is trying to get the best deal possible, and then they wait until the last second possible. It's a really strange thing, which I don't know why they do it this way. It seems like if you've got a really good deal today, then you should probably make it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think like on my draft day, the draft is usually like early evening, right?
Yeah.
Wherever I'm going to be on draft day, I get there at 9 a.m. or 8:30 because I know I'm stuck. Like getting lunch or having to drive an hour to the arena, like I have to do because I live so far away. Like I have to map out my day, and I've got to leave the house at 7 or 7:30 and get to wherever I'm going, and then set up and have my laptop plugged in, have snacks, whatever it is, I've got to be ready and primed. And, there is no walking out the door. I'm going to work until midnight, probably at least, maybe 1 o'clock in the morning, waiting for prospects to finally get on the phone with us and do Zoom interviews this year and stuff like that. So I think it's going to be an interesting draft day. I do not even this week, the Kings brought in the point guard out of, why am I drawing a blank? Not Mitchell, but the other point guard.
The shooter, Butler? Is that what
they brought in Butler. Yeah, they brought in Butler yesterday. What is today? Wednesday. Yeah, so they brought him in on Tuesday, right? And why would the Kings bring in Butler? Because, I've done mock drafts for a long time. Butler is scheduled to go anywhere from 18 to 25. The Kings have the 9th pick. They don't have anywhere from that until early second round. Right. Butler's not falling to the second round after winning a national championship and being a mature player and all that stuff. So, something could be up, but then again, nothing could materialize. They're just getting a really good feel for someone that they know will come in because he's trying to move up. But again, that's a huge jump to move up. So are the Kings looking to move back into the second round? Are they looking at one of the two teams that have 2 picks? What do we got? OKC who has 16 and 18. We've got Houston at 23 and 24. Are they looking to swap their 9 and double up? So you have to start looking at why someone like that would be here and if he's potential. And you already have a couple of point guards. You already have Fox. You already have Halliburton that can play the point. You already have DeLon Wright that can play the point. Does Butler fit? Again, you already have a bunch of shooting guards. So that's where you start to think, okay, the wheels are turning. How do you get to a point where you have enough room in the backcourt for someone to sign? To bring in another point guard. Number 2, how do you get in his range? So yeah, I think that there's going to be a lot of activity here in the next 2 weeks, but really it all heats up on that last 48-hour window. Yeah, there might be a little bit early this year because free agency's right afterwards. But yeah, these guys are ready to roll. They have a draft strategy. They're already ready to roll into free agency.
James Ham, Kings Insider with us. What's your favorite prospect that you've written about so far? Written about and studied?
Yeah, it's funny. I had conversations with someone around the team and who do I think you would take and who do I think I would take? I really like Moses Moody. I think he's a guy who fits the money, McNair, everything that we've seen, right? Who he goes after in free agency, who he goes after at the trade deadline, that long athletic guy that can shoot the 3. So that's one guy. Me personally, I really, really like Josh Giddey, the Australian kid. I think we talked about this last week. And the thing about Giddey is that he can rip down a rebound, averages over 7 rebounds a game as a point guard, and he already is scanning the floor and throwing the ball ahead. He's a guy a little bit like Lonzo who grabs the ball and is instantly looking to initiate the break. And I think the Kings need that because they have 2 really, really fast guards, maybe even 3 really, really fast guards that are already breaking. And if you have somebody who can, grab the ball and fling it out, that's why, if somehow the Kings did some crazy salary dump and they brought in Kevin Love and everyone goes, oh my gosh, don't say Kevin Love.
That's about what you're going to get.
Yeah, that's how they would react.
But, if I got a guy who averages 12 rebounds a game and the second he grabs a rebound, he turns around and he's got it at half court, he's already thrown it to half court and it's already gone. You need to find that type of guy because the one thing of taking the ball out of bounds and flicking it in and getting out and running that we saw under Dave Yeager, that was cool. I'd rather have a guy who gets a defensive rebound and initiates the break and you're flying down to the other end. The Kings just haven't had that. They don't have a guy who instantly looks ahead. Harrison Barnes just had his best passing year of his career and got over 3 assists a game, but he's a guy who averages around 11 or 12, his assist percentage around 11 or 12% for his career. Rashawn Holmes, 1.7 assists a game. He's not a guy who grabs a ball and instantly initiates. You have to find that guy if you're going to have this style of offense, in my opinion. And so that's why I like Giddey. You're going to see guys like Franz Wagner that can do some of that, guys like Corey Kispert who can do some of that. But you have to have guys that can really that are thinking the next level, in my opinion. And I think basketball IQ has been an issue for this team. I also think that they need somebody who doesn't mind punching somebody in the face.
Yeah.
Like there are some attributes that I want, not just player types. There are some guys that I know will, throw down if they need to, and the Kings need some of that energy.
Yeah. James, let's have a little fun here. Well, we got the insider here, so I want some inside information here. These are the things that I stay up late at night thinking about. Okay. California Classic is back. 2-part question. Number one, is this a staple now of the NBA summer to do this California Classic thing here in Sacramento every year? This is the 3rd year. Probably would have been the 4th year if it wasn't for COVID. Is this a staple? And then number 2, refresh our memories. What's the deal with the Clippers not being a part of this?
Okay, so the first answer is it should be a staple. I mean, I think it's a spectacular event. It shows off an amazing venue. It also shows the league that you can put on something bigger. So maybe down the road, if you add a few more hotel rooms, you can get an all-star game and stuff. So I do think that it adds that element, that it showcases your building in the summer. It gives you an opportunity to show your locals, your sort of your up and coming young players. It's a chance to get people in the building and have them sign up for season tickets. To me, it is one of the greatest marketing tools that I've seen. Like, I'm not sure, I still don't know who T-Pain is or some of the other people that they brought in. I don't know who these people are.
When T-Pain was there, I was out in the concourse for that one. That was
okay. Yeah, but you see what I mean though. Like, I think it doesn't matter. Like, you're showing off your venue in such a spectacular way. And as far as the Clippers, you got me. Like, no one has ever told us why the Clippers aren't involved. I can only imagine that it's possible that the Clippers like the idea and we're like, hey, we kind of want, how about we do a rotation? And the Kings were like, maybe we'll just choose a Heat. Because we're not going to rotate and like all of a sudden we'll be in Miami. So I think at one point it was like there was a possibility for some sort of rotation with all of these guys. But if I'm the Kings, I'm not giving it up. And if the other 3 teams want to back out, you can find 3 other NBA teams and say, hey, let's do this. And they'll be like, all right, sounds cool to me. It's a cool build up to Summer League.
So you're going to Vegas anyways.
Yeah. Let me ask you this on a follow-up to that, because the way that you explained it to me, I was always under the impression that the NBA made the decision. Now, obviously, they have the ultimate final say-so, but this is a Kings orchestrated thing. Is that correct? As more so than the NBA saying, we want to do this. Hey, Sacramento, can you put this on?
No, this is the Kings. Yeah, this is somebody had a brilliant idea within the walls of the Kings. I'm not sure who it is. I could probably reach out and someone, at least 4 people would take credit for it, which I'm not sure who they would be, but I'll tell you that it's a bear. And to have it, like, what did they announce it last week, right? Like mid to late last week. That means that my friends in media relations have like 3 weeks to plan for this. One of them has to fly to New York for the draft. Someone has to get ready for the whole draft night here. Then they're having a draft party at Golden One Center. I mean, like, there is a lot on the plate here of people, and it all came together really late. But it's really because they've lifted a lot of the restrictions. And even this event, like, you don't have to show your COVID card, which was policy last year. You have to have you have to make a declaration that you've had your vaccine, or you have to go to their little testing center or get a test within 72 hours and show it to them. But people will lie and get in the building who weren't vaccinated, which, to me is a slight change in policy from what they've done. But again, it's such a cool event. It's a good family event. My teenagers love going. They love sitting there, and it's really low key. It's almost like going to the Final Four, or not the Final Four, but like the first couple of rounds of the NCAA, which Sacramento's got multiple times. Like, you get to see, Lonzo Ball starring for UCLA, but then you're like, okay, I don't really want to see the next game, so I'm going to walk around and go grab food and then come back. So it's a cool event.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm stuck on declaration of vaccination. I'm just picturing, I declare vaccination.
Yes, they go full Michael Scott on you. Yeah,
Thank you.
they do.
I'm glad one person on this team got that.
Yeah,
And just
I don't know who T-Pain is, but I can get
fine.
sure.
Yeah, it's all right. Wait. What is on your playlist, Ham?
Oh man, I've probably been to, I don't know, 40 concerts, 50 concerts in my life. I'm a like 70s, 80s rock guy. Like I've seen everyone that you can possibly imagine in concert. Even in Golden One, we've been to 10 concerts at Golden One. It's one of the best venues ever for concerts. Mm-hmm. So like, I mean, I've seen everyone from Timberlake to Maroon 5 to Paul McCartney and Ed Sheeran and Depeche Mode. I wouldn't do that one again, but yeah, but I mean, I've seen Bon Jovi there. I've seen, like just about everyone you can think of.
If I told you Odyssey had a station called Guitars and Glitter, would you know what type of music that played?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I have a record player here.
Not that. Stop.
Yeah. No, I mean, I in the bar we have a record player and like all kinds of vinyl and yeah.
Yeah, I guess that brings us back to if you need a $5 million house, and they're only offering you $2 million. Call James Ham. He'll build your house.
For sure.
That's what he does.
That's right.
Ham, we appreciate you, man. Thanks as always.
Thanks guys. Yeah, have a good day.
Yes, sir. That's James Ham, Kings Insider for NBC Sports. Never heard of T-Pain. That's all right.
T-Pain went on a rant earlier today, by the way.
What?
Yeah.
Why?
Because he said people are making the same music.
Bro, you got your nerve. Fam, you've got your nerve talking about people making the same music. Please.
Yeah, he went on an epic 1-minute rant.
Speaking of, I had mentioned it, but the new Odyssey exclusive stations are curated for sports listeners like you. Find your new summer soundtrack. There are hundreds of new stations for summer barbecues, road trips, working out, or relaxing. I mentioned Guitars and Glitter. You can try that one, or you can check out Heat in the Street. That's got Lil Baby Drake, Cardi B, and the hottest artists in the game right now. You can even find artist stations on Odyssey. They're all new artist radio stations. Check out the new Odyssey exclusive stations on the Odyssey app, brought to you in part by Macy's and Geico.
Nice.
So you stay up thinking about the California Classic being yearly, and why aren't the Clippers here?
Yeah.
Okay. You're dedicated to your craft, fam. That's what I love you for. I'm not picking a winner. I'm
going Bucks tonight. Give me a longer series. Let's go, baby.
Okay.
Bucks tonight. Let's make it happen.
We weren't picking the Suns.
Fear the fear.
Well, whoever wins, we'll be back to cover it tomorrow. We'll have 4 more opportunities for you to win $1,000, and Deuce and Mo will join us.
Hey.
We hope you will too, here on Sacramento's #1 sports station, ESPN 1320.
Holla. It's a wrap. Change your name to Saran because it's a wrap.
Brutal for me. Does this sound okay over there for you, KC?
That sounds good to me.
I think I'm coming
a little
through
bit
the
of like
iPad.
It sounds like you're in a room.
I'm coming through the iPad. That's why I was trying to talk so little. But to get proper sound, I'm listening to the Comrex.
Mm-hmm.
So my voice is like a split second behind.
Throws you off.
Yeah, it's no fun. You and Ham clear as day, but me, it's off a little bit.
Wow.
All right.
You know what I'm saying? We get through it. The biggest thing is it's the summer. This happened in October. Yeah, maybe
it happened in October.
This is the summer. We fight through it here. Get through it.
I was slightly ready this time. I had the iPad. I knew what to do. It didn't work like I wanted it to, but it's better than staring at the little ESPN circle. So I'll get back to work. I'll figure out what it is. I honest to God don't know what it is.
Just hung up on Mike.
Yeah, that was great. I mean, we love you, Mike, but sometimes you deserve to be hung up on. I don't think so either. I was prepared for a prank call.
I was prepared for that. I thought it was Mitch when it started, but yeah, Tony ain't gonna have that face because Suns ain't winning tonight. Fear the deer. What's the name? What's the name of the little area? Put me in the middle of Deer Park.
Deer Park. No, it's not Deer Park. What is it? Deer District.
Deer
District. There was some
alliteration. I don't know.
You're along the lines. There was some alliteration there. It's Deer District. All right, let's go so I can figure out what the hell is going on in here.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. All right, y'all, man. We
love y'all.
See y'all tomorrow. Appreciate y'all. Y'all came out again today, so I appreciate y'all, man. We about.